Okay. Okay, so we need to make this bigger. So let's work on that. So we're going to work on making this bigger here. So bear with me for a moment. Whoops. But really the best way I can do this is to be live. So bear with me. Okay. And we will bring this up. Not yet. So I'm doing my background here, chat. So bear with me for a moment. And YouTube is on a delay, so I have to kind of work with that. So we're just going to make this, we're just kind of moving things around here. Okay, that should work. So give me a second, everybody. So I was looking at videos over the weekend and I'm really, really small. So I just want to make it a little bit better for people on YouTube. So I think you guys are having a hard time seeing me. That would be my guess. So we're going to make this a little bit better for everybody. It's just really hard to see me. Okay. I ended my live the first time the live notification. Okay. Well, sorry about that. Let's see. Hopefully we can get this fixed right away. I think I'm going to make the YouTube chat a little smaller. Let's shrink this a little bit and then bring it upward. There we go. Okay. And let's make me a little bit bigger. Okay. All right, let's see how that looks on YouTube. Give me just a second. It's on a bit of a delay. Welcome in. Hey, Pseudo. Hey, Tilting Windmill. YouTube chats are always the ugly stepchildren. Yeah, I'm trying to make it better. Because yeah, I noticed over the weekend it was really small. How's that look size-wise? Can you guys see that okay? On YouTube? And Twitch for that matter. YouTube, Twitch, how does that look? Here, I can hop over to Twitch real quick. That looks a little better. Yeah, it's the vertical BS. Exactly. It's these stupid stream keys that TikTok will not give. That's really what it is. So it's really just annoying. But okay, I think does that look better, chat? Looks a little bigger. And then I got to fix things on the TikTok side, but that's okay. I'm all right with that. I can shrink it a little bit and make it fit. In fact, I can do this. I can just cut this out entirely. There we go. Okay. And then we can just make this a little bigger. Ah, there we go. Now we're thinking. Okay. All right. I think I'm just going to go with that. It might be a little off today, but folks will have to cope. Okay. Because we're wasting some valuable streaming time. So let's get this show on the road, huh? Can't read chat on vertical in YouTube. Yeah, that's the only problem. If you're vertical on YouTube, it cuts off the TikTok chat. And I'm going to have to do multiple screens or something. I got to figure that part out. I may have to do like an alt account on YouTube, kind of like what Deconstruction Zone does. That's probably the best option, but I am quickly running out of laptop real estate. Yeah, I'm not, and thank you for pointing that out, Pseudo. The reason why is because I'm not logged into TikTok yet. I haven't gone live yet, so you won't see the chat until I go live. But thank you for pointing that out. You're absolutely right. So it'll be there momentarily. And what are you guys saying over there? Oh, crap. That's the other thing. I've got to pop this out and I've got to make that live. So this one is the dead one. Yeah, that's the dead one. And because the YouTube chat restarts with a different URL every time. Okay. I think we're good. Okay, very good. All right, that part looks good. Yeah, so you're going to see my profile here in a second, but I'm about to go live. I just got to do a quick audio test. Testing one. Okay, we're good. So let's go live on TikTok. All right. Thanks for your patience, everybody. So let's get her going. All right, and I should probably restart this instance here. We should reload this. We're going to reload Video Ninja and put myself in as a director. Change the audio. Let's see, verify the audio settings. Okay, that looks good. Okay. Okay, we're fully live. So one more check. I'm going to make sure that it looks good on this end here. Okay. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome in. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Okay, there's chat. Double E, welcome in. Girls Gone Godless, good to see you. Ace, good to see you too. We have Double E and Triple G. So you know it's going to be a good stream. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ace. Over on the Twitch side. Okay, so we're live on Twitch, live on YouTube, live on TikTok. Fantastic. All right, again, hope everybody had a good weekend. I had a pretty good weekend myself. And big W's from Alan Gibson. Thank you. So watch the start of the Olympics. That was interesting. And of course, me sitting on the couch, middle-aged person, never done any of those sports before. I don't do winter sports, never done any of those sports, but all of a sudden I'm a big judge of their form. Suddenly I have an opinion about the Olympics. Oh yes, and the halftime show yesterday was fantastic. In fact, I want to go to Puerto Rico now. I really want to go. We were going to go several years ago before the last hurricane hit, and then kind of got away from that. Who I have winning the Super Bowl? I thought the Seahawks were going to win it because I wasn't their defense just looked too good. And Bad Bunny was amazing. That was amazing. And you know, it's funny because I've been like a heavy sports fan all my life, especially football. And I think football is still my favorite sport, but just a little bit. But you know, that was like the first game all year I watched in its entirety, almost in its entirety. I watched probably about 3/4 of the game. And that was like the first game all year that I watched that much of. Everything else I did highlights and, you know, watched maybe 5 minutes. Maybe probably like 20 minutes collectively total of football I watched this year. And that was the first one. And now I see why I don't really watch it. Do I prefer college or NFL? You know, I don't think I have a preference. I like them equally as much. Yeah. And Toilet Paper USA was only on YouTube. They couldn't, I heard they could not get the streaming rights to do it on Twitter. I thought that was hilarious. And Canada versus US hockey 4-0. So I'm thinking Canada won. So I'm thinking historically we haven't been very 5. Oh, it's on now. Now US is up 5-0 in hockey against Canada. What? That's wild. There's more people in my life now than the TV show. And I promise you, I am not lip syncing. I'm actually talking. That's hilarious, Triple G. Hilarious. Used to be a huge NBA fan, but don't care for today's game. Yeah, I'm not watching much of the NBA anymore either. Yeah, they could have helped homeless people instead of wasting money. But, you know, pull yourself up by the bootstraps and all that good stuff. I've been asked, can you prove to a 2D drawing that you exist? Yeah, it's a false equivalence because 2D drawings don't have a mind. So no, you can't. Do you guys, oh yeah, we got one thing. There we go. Okay. So, okay, you guys should see the TikTok chat. You should see the YouTube chat. So I think we're all good. We're all good. Yeah. So yeah, the halftime show was fantastic. The Bad Bunny halftime show, for that matter. The Ricky Martin cameo was, you know, this is how culturally irrelevant I am. Ricky Martin starts singing, right? And I said, wow, that guy's really good. I was like, that guy's really good. Too bad I don't know who he is, man. He's really talented. He'd probably, you know, do a lot here. And then my wife's like, that's Ricky Martin. I'm like, oh. See, that's just how like culturally, so I'm just irrelevant. I'm an old head. Aging like fine wine. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. But see, that's what I mean. I belong in a cellar, just continuing to age. Just don't bring me out in public. You know what I mean? You had the same reaction? Okay. So it wasn't just me, but yeah. Well, yeah, he looked good. I mean, hadn't seen or heard from him in a long time, but he looked good and he sang very well. And boy, so that was cool. And I heard that the people who got married in the halftime show actually got married. It was a real marriage, which explains them cutting the cake and it looked like a real cake. Electric Barbie, what do I tell my mom when she tells me to pray and that she is praying for me? It feels icky. You know, family is tough, and when she tells you to pray, you know, I think it depends like how deep into the conversation you want to get with your mom, right? If you want to just nod and smile, I think that's perfectly acceptable. I mean, you know, depends on your living situation, your age, all that stuff. But if you want to mix it up with your mom and have a real conversation, what I would say to her is, it's interesting because every religion prays. So which God are we praying to? We just start it there. The little boy who had the Grammy was a boy taken by ice with the bunny ears too. Yeah, Triple G, I heard that, but then my wife said no. So I'm not, is that true or not? If it is, man, that was powerful. If it was. Okay, it was an actor. Okay. That's what I thought, but yeah, my wife said it was an actor. Yeah, my wife said it was an actor, but even if it was, I mean, if that was the representation, still pretty powerful. I heard that. Oh, as a representation of himself as a child. Got it. See, this is why I need to learn more Spanish, because I probably would have understood that better had I known what the fuck what they were talking about. You know what I mean? But I was enjoying the music, and it was like watching a novella, right? On Telemundo. That's what it felt like to me, and I was enjoying it. Okay, it was supposed to be BB as a kid. Got it. Do you have to pray to God? You can pray to the ancestors of the universe in general. There are alt. Or just pray to nobody. So, JJ, not the gotcha question it is. The best evidence that George Washington is real, we have way more evidence that George Washington's real than we do for even Jesus. We have George Washington's teeth. We have letters written by George Washington. We have letters written to George Washington. We have people talking about George Washington. We have him on the dollar. We have him on the quarter. We have his bones. We have his ancestors. I mean, we have his DNA. So we can verify with high degree of certainty that George Washington is real. George Washington actually lived. So 25,000 manuscripts. How do you know those are real? Shroud of Turin, debunked in 1988. I was in high school when that was debunked, and that was like that was a thing we laughed about in my Catholic high school. We talked about that a lot. Yeah. So 40 people didn't write about Jesus in the Bible. Can we independently, we can't independently verify any of those 40 people. See, the thing is we can independently verify that the people who wrote about George Washington actually lived too. That's the other piece of it. So what evidence do you have aside from the Bible that those 40 people who supposedly wrote about Jesus actually are real? So Alexander the Great, we can verify him, right? Yep, because other people wrote about him, other people wrote about him. Ptolemy wrote about him as general. Who was it? Was it Socrates or was it Aristotle who taught Alexander the Great? One of those two. So we have plenty of evidence for those, but almost very little for Jesus. But the other thing is, you cannot demonstrate that Jesus rose from the dead. You cannot demonstrate that Jesus rose to heaven. No evidence of that. Zero. So how do we know that actually happened? And then you're going to have to consider that people like Aristias and Zalmoxis, Osiris, all rose from the dead. Nero was claimed to have rose from the dead. There were 30,000 witnesses of Nero's resurrection. So that means Nero rose from the dead, right? Mount Sinai is still scorched. Nope, not true. False. But Jamie McLaughlin, bring a peer-reviewed study that demonstrates that Mount Sinai still being scorched has anything to do with God. The Great Flood, no flood ever happened. No evidence of that. I actually made a video of that. Pontius Pilate talks about Jesus. Okay, so we know existence, but again, you have to demonstrate divinity. You can't demonstrate divinity. Flood proved in other civilizations. Like what? China never reported a flood. No record of a flood in China. No record of a flood in any other cultures. Except in that local area. That's it. So we have ancient records from Egypt. No flood. Ancient records from China, no flood. Ancient Greece, no flood. I mean, there's just no proof of a flood at all. What's your thoughts on creationist? It's not true. All right, so we're off to a good start. It's no global flood whatsoever. All right. All right, let's bring up our first guest. So, if you are in the guest queue, please be at least 18, a believer in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. And please have evidence that God is real. So, let's take up our first guest. How's it going?
Yep. What's up, bro? How you doing?
Doing well. Are you at least 18?
Yeah.
All right. And what are your pronouns? Just so I know how to refer to you.
He, him.
Fantastic. And which God do you believe in?
I believe in just a higher power.
Just a higher power? Okay.
That's right.
God of the Bible, the Torah, the Quran. That's people I want to talk to today.
I guess the closest thing would be the God of the Bible. I guess. Sure.
Okay.
Just for the sake of it.
All right. What's your best evidence that God is real?
Specifically, I've been doing a lot of research into the mind, and I truly believe that, well, not truly, but I've come to the rational conclusion that it's more rational to believe that, I guess, consciousness comes from a mind, like mind and mind instead of mind from matter.
Okay. Consciousness comes from a mind. I agree with that. That's all the evidence we have.
Actually, no, we don't have evidence that consciousness comes from a mind.
Not
What I meant.
our
What
minds.
I meant by that is that. What I meant by that is it comes from something that's non-physical outside of material.
And what
things.
evidence do you have of that? We definitely don't have any evidence of that.
We don't, but it's more rational to believe that it does rather than it comes from material things based on the evidence that we have.
Okay. Take me through that rationality.
Sorry, I just burped. You said what again? Sorry.
Take me through the rationale of that it comes from a mind out or something outside of our minds, something beyond our minds. Yeah, take me through that.
So I guess something then non-physical without physical substance. Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's
Okay.
what you got. Yeah. I mean, yeah, a logical argument could be considered evidence. Yeah. If it makes sense.
Okay. So
I should probably take notes.
do you agree that I guess neurons and neurons and relations, like neurons firing to each other, and that's all like third person?
Wait, hold on. Say it again.
You can describe. So do you agree that you can describe neurons through third person like a third person lens?
Yeah. We can do that with just about anything. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So can you describe what it feels like to feel pain through a third person lens?
Through a third person lens. What it feels like what it's like to feel pain through a third person lens.
Yeah. Can you describe that through a third person lens?
Yes, we can.
How?
Well, neuroscientists can look at like pain receptors, and they can see reactions, or they can see they can observe.
Yeah, that's not describing what it feels like to feel pain. Right. You're not saying what it feels like. You're saying this is a measure about you can measure that. You can measure what pain feels like. You can.
That's one way to describe that's one way to describe what it feels like.
Okay, can you measure how unpleasant it feels like to feel pain based on your brain?
Yes, I just said we can.
You can measure what unpleasantness feels like.
Yeah.
How?
Well, I just told you.
Based on what?
So when neuroscientists apply what they like, for example, if they poke someone with a sharp object, they can measure the pain receptors, how the brain reacts, what chemicals are induced in the body, things of that sort, heart rate, all that stuff. So they can measure all that stuff. So yeah, they can observe it.
That's all physical.
That's one descriptor. That's a descriptive.
Yeah, that's all physical in third person. You're not actually explaining the first person aspect of it.
Well, you said from a third person. Can you describe what it feels like? I just said we can. That's one way to do it.
Through a third person lens.
That is through a third person lens. It's through observation, through third person observation.
So can you describe? Okay, so I don't think you understand what I mean by what it feels like. So when I say what it feels like, I'm talking about not the things you can measure, because we both know what it feels like to feel pain, right?
Mhm.
So how can you measure that through a third person lens?
I just explained it to you. That's the way we can do it. That's one way to do it.
Through measuring.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
that's a descriptor. That's descriptive. That's a description. You said, how do you describe it? I just explained it.
And what parts of the brain do neuroscientists measure? Is it just a bunch, like all of them? You measure
Man,
them
I guess
like
we
at the
can look
same
it up.
time?
I guess we can look it
Yeah.
up. Yeah. We can look it up, but why is it up on now? So you're saying they can't do it?
So neuroscience has yet to describe anything about why it feels this way, which is, I guess in this case, we'd have to say unpleasantness. We can see the third person aspects of it, like, I guess the amount of pain measured by, I don't know, the experience
Wait,
that's
hold
being
on.
had.
Just to clarify, has yet to describe what?
It has yet to describe why we feel this way of, why we feel a certain level of unpleasantness.
Okay.
Pain doesn't describe unpleasantness.
Okay. So, and to you, that demonstrates that God is real. Therefore, God is real?
No, no, that's not my argument. My argument is completely no. My argument is,
Well, let's get to the argument
it's,
then. Yeah.
yeah,
Let's
it's
get to
more
the part
rational
where
to
right before it says,
it's,
therefore God is real. Well, I know you said it's more rational to believe that God is real, but that's just a statement. That's not evidence. So I'm asking,
yeah, based on that
okay.
consciousness can't come from physical matter.
Okay.
That's my argument.
Okay. So neuroscience has yet to describe why we feel a certain level of unpleasantness. Consciousness doesn't come from physical matter.
Right.
Therefore it is more rational to believe that a God exists, therefore God exists?
Not therefore God exists. Therefore you should consider it rather than considering that there is no mind. That, yeah, that's what I'd say.
Okay, so it comes from consciousness, but consciousness then doesn't come from physical matter, but from like a mind that created the universe. I'm just trying to make sense of this. It's not making sense. Yeah, so far it's not making sense.
Okay, so I guess I'd say a mind that's not created the universe, but we specifically get our first person subjective experience from a mind.
From a mind outside of ours.
Yes.
Okay. And how does that work?
How does what work? You get it through a mind that's outside. Why it's more
how do we get that? How do we get our first person subjective experience from a mind outside of us? Like how does that what's the mechanism? How does it work?
Okay, let me okay.
Yeah, take me through. Yeah, like, cause like, we can go through the steps of like how emotions form in our brains. We have evidence of that. We have something like that, but you're saying ours first person subjective. So basically what you're saying is me looking at the screen. That's my first person subjective experience. A mind outside of mind is giving me that experience. That's what you're telling me.
No, I'm saying the reason that we can acknowledge experience is because of that mind.
We can acknowledge experience because of that mind. Okay.
Because of that mind outside of ours that gave us that I guess awareness in a sense.
Okay, but how do you know it was a mind outside of ours that gave us awareness?
Because if we look at all the evidence that we have now, it doesn't point to anything like that.
Okay, all the evidence it doesn't point to anything of why we have a first person subjective experience? Like you're talking about like awareness, right? Like sentience.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, because this sounds like an argument from ignorance. You're just saying since we can't explain
Okay.
this, then God is responsible for this. So I'm trying to get
So
you
it's
to.
so
I'm
no.
trying
So
to.
it's definitely not. Yeah. So it's definitely not God of the gaps, because if we were to look at,
I said it's an argument from
so
ignorance. That's different than a God of the gaps.
how is that? Yeah,
You're saying since
bro.
we can't,
What are you talking about?
you know what an argument from ignorance fallacy is?
No, I don't actually talk to me.
Okay, so an argument from ignorance fallacy, it's similar to a God of the gaps, but an argument from ignorance fallacy is since we can't explain this, then then a higher power must have done it.
That sounds like God of the gaps, bro.
Yeah, but that's an argument from ignorance. It's because we can't since we don't know, since we can't explain it, then
So what is God of the gaps then?
God of the gaps is when you've got two pieces of data or pieces of information and you're trying to link the two. So like an example of God of the gaps, I mean, like I said, it's very similar, but an example of God of the gaps would be something like, Jesus existed, right? And Jesus is divine. Or Jesus is the Son of God, Jesus existed, and the God of the gaps is we know he's divine because only God can do that. That would be God of the gaps. That'd be filling in that gap. All right. So this is a little bit different. We're saying because there's an end point to it. It's a therefore.
I'm glad you taught me that. That's actually pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's a because you're concluding that God is responsible for this.
No, I'm not concluding that at all. I said
you're saying it's more rational to believe that, but
that's not concluding anything.
Well, the point is that when you're saying it's more rational to believe this, is because we don't know, X, Y, and Z. Since we don't know X, Y, and Z, it's more rational to conclude God is responsible for this. But see, the problem is you have to rule out every other single thing in order to get to God. And we haven't yet, because that's the part of the argument from ignorance. If you don't know, that means you also don't know what the other things are. So
what would the other things be?
I don't know. No idea.
You don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So the more rational.
It's crazy that.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's actually funny you say that, because that's actually a fallacy too that you say that. Now I have to find exactly.
I don't know.
No, not that you don't know. That's actually like I have to find which specific. It's crazy because I was just doing research on this. It's like that exact fallacy was we don't have enough. Wait. So let me ask you a question. Do you think that science will in the future it'll eventually prove it?
I don't know. I mean, maybe, and I would think I do think though that that's our best chance of proving it, because we haven't demonstrated anything theologically. Like we haven't demonstrated the truth of anything theologically or philosophically.
And we haven't demonstrated anything materialism either. We haven't demonstrated anything at all when it comes to this topic specifically. Because specifically all we've really came to was that when you look at neurons and when you look at mass and firing and charge and things of this, all of those things are very measurable and they're very observable. We can observe and measure these things. But when it comes to first person awareness and giving us as the experiencer in our own minds to experience experience things of this sort and make out what it feels like, we haven't actually had any evidence when it comes to neuroanatomy and things of this sort, because all of these things are third person.
Okay, so if that's the case, then then if you're saying that you're basically saying consciousness isn't material, I think that's really what you're saying, right? Or maybe that's a big chunk of what you're saying.
It's not physical. No, I said it's not physical substance.
Well, then in that case, how come then material things affect consciousness, such as anesthesia? That's a material thing.
Yo, good. I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah.
Okay, glad you asked that. So, okay, great point. That's literally a great point.
Yeah.
Okay, so so let me ask you. So then, like, if I were to, would you agree with this then? If I were to like take a bat and like this is like goes with your point. So do you agree that like taking a bat, like, I don't know, hitting someone in the head and then like it affect their consciousness? Do you think that further proves it's the brain? You do, right?
Well, it's just that there's a strong correlation there. I don't know if it's proof.
Right.
It's just,
so correlation and
I'm not saying it's causation. I just said it's a correlation. But see,
it's not even identity.
But the problem is you haven't demonstrated any correlation to this mind outside of what you're trying to say.
Okay, so
you know what I mean?
So first, let me break down that point. So specifically, amnesia and hitting your brain, whatever the cause may be. Can I ask you, when X breaks, right? When X breaks, does that explain why why X is there when it wasn't broken?
Not necessarily. No.
Okay, perfect. So we already know.
Like I
that,
said, it's a correlation. So everything that we do, but that's my whole point. The correlation is everything that we do to the brain affects consciousness, right? We hit it in the head with a bat. We inject anesthesia, things of that sort. Party favors, mind altering substances, they all seem to affect consciousness in the brain, right? And then if it's just this mind that is affecting this, like you could say, well, there's like this connection. Okay, let's just say that's true. Well, the problem though is that how do we detect anything?
Say what's true.
If there's like this mind that's outside of us, that has some influence on our consciousness, okay? If that's the case, then why can't we measure it? Why can't we test it? Why can't we verify it?
Because consciousness isn't measurable, it's not observable, and it's not, but it is verified.
Well, that's not true. Because if it were,
it's not true.
If it weren't measurable, then how do anesthesiologists how are they able to determine whether or not you're conscious?
Do they measure that?
They can, yeah. Like I went under through.
They measure that?
I went under through surgery, and I was like partially conscious. So they didn't put me fully under. They had to keep me like partially conscious so I could follow instructions. But I don't remember anything that happened.
So can you measure your first? Okay,
so they had to. I mean, that's one way to measure consciousness. Yeah, that's one way to measure it. So they had to know exactly how much anesthesia to give me, like the right
so can
kind
I
of
measure
the right
so,
kind.
Okay, so do I find out why? So let me ask you, can I find out how consciousness comes by studying dead people?
No, you can't because they're not conscious.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well,
great.
Okay.
That's the
well,
point.
The point is they're dead. And do they have brain activity?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, they don't have brain activity. But
exactly.
But the point is that it takes a brain to have consciousness. You would agree with that, right?
It takes a brain. I forgot to say that. So I'm not arguing that the brain isn't a required attribute for consciousness. Okay. But I'm saying that consciousness doesn't directly stem from the brain. It doesn't come from the brain.
I know you're stating that, you're asserting it, but you haven't demonstrated it. You're just saying because we don't fully understand consciousness, then there has to be a mind above that's that's influencing our consciousness, but you haven't demonstrated any of that.
Not influencing our consciousness per se. I would more say
affecting it, or it's responsible for it, or it's connected to it somehow. Like
okay, there you go.
I
guess
affected it, or that's the words I'm trying to find. Like it's involved somehow. It's affecting it, or it's doing something that. So would you agree with this? Are you like if there was no like mind out here, would we cease to have consciousness? Like let's just say somehow this mind that you're talking about went away.
Okay.
Would we all die? Would we all just stop being conscious? We just all drop?
I've never heard that question before, if I'm being honest with you. If I'm honest, I couldn't answer you that with like a 100% straight answer.
That's fair. That's honest. That's fair. No, that's chill. That's cool. Because I guess that's what I'm trying. Because that's the part I'm trying to understand for what you're saying. Because it sounds like that would be the case.
So what I'd ask you then is, could there be function without experience?
Could there be function without experience? Function without experience. I don't think yes, there actually could, because like, for example, frog legs can still continue to function after they've been severed from the body. Like, have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen them in the markets, like in Asia?
I have.
Yeah, and then they twitch and they jump. Shark heads, they do the same thing, so they still function.
So can I ask? Okay,
lizard tails, things like that. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
So I'd further up and ask you. I'm just gonna ask you. So do you think that? Okay, so let me ask you, why do you think consciousness exists at all?
Because of the brain.
No, I'm asking you why. Why does the brain produce consciousness?
Why? it
Yeah,
produces
why?
consciousness.
For
Oh,
what?
I don't know why. It just does.
You don't know why. It
Yeah, I
just
don't know why.
does.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, just because I don't know why
Uh,
doesn't mean there isn't a reason. But yeah, I don't know why.
no, I thought you'd take the other route. Never mind.
What
Okay.
route is that?
No, I mean I've talked to so many atheists. I've talked to hundreds, bro. Literally, the other route would be there's two routes. One would be, I guess,
Okay,
survival, and
could be.
the other would be just, I guess, it just reduces to function.
Yeah, might be. I was gonna say higher brain function, but I mean, honestly, I don't really know.
Okay, so is your answer you don't know, or
I don't know.
okay? So okay, so function can exist without experience,
Mhm.
and what
Can
was the second shit I asked? What was the second bullshit I asked? What was that second shit I asked you? What was the second thing I asked you?
I can't remember, bro. I can't remember, to be honest with you.
Okay,
But yeah, I mean, yeah. So we can have function without
Okay.
experience. We can.
okay,
Like for
Okay.
example, a brain dead person. If we, they can still function. But that's if they're hooked up to something. So yeah, it can still happen. I mean, it doesn't happen for very long though, without a brain.
okay. So can I ask you this question? Can you, okay, specifically, can you like, well, not even a question. I guess just showing me like the pain matrix in the brain is kind of like showing me like the circuits of a speaker and saying like that's why music exists.
Okay.
So it's like, let me ask you then, which neuron firing pattern equals unpleasantness itself?
Oh, no
Like
fucking
not the
idea.
behavior.
I've got no idea. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I could maybe find out, but I don't know if there
So
even
you
is
could,
one.
so you might be able to find out the behavior. You might even be able to find out reports. Like you might be able to find things that are measurable, but you will never be able to find the feeling of it. You know what I'm trying to say?
I hear that. Well, I guess in the feeling of pain or feeling of experience, that's probably what you're really talking about. Because it's not just pain, it's also pleasure, right? Feeling of
Sorry,
pleasure.
bro, you lagged out. You lagged out like crazy. You lagged
Oh,
out
did
like
I?
crazy. My bad.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Feel not just the
Yeah.
feeling of pain, but also the feeling of pleasure. The feeling of just the feeling of like a full stomach, something like that. Feeling of being tired.
Yeah, I mean,
All that
you
stuff,
can,
right?
Sure,
That's
you can-
experience. So you're really talking about experience,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Like
but
what
you have to have
experience feels
someone
like.
that acknowledges. You have to have that someone that acknowledges that experience. You can't just have experience and no one to acknowledge it, right? There has to be some sort of I don't want to say entity, but some sort of thing inside of you that's first person to even acknowledge that experience in the first place. Because if you
Okay.
don't have that, then you just have a bunch of chemicals moving around.
Okay.
Right?
Do single-celled organisms have experience?
Do single-celled organisms have experience? Do they have a brain?
No. I think they have experience though.
Then they have function without experience. They have behavior without experience. That's possible, bro. We already established that.
Yeah. So then what is experience then? Because if it's is it like something memorable? Like something you have to remember? Is that what determines experience?
I
'Cause I
guess
mean-
it's aware. I
Because
guess
they
it's
eat just like you and I
awareness.
do, right?
I want to say awareness.
Well, they have some sort of awareness because they're aware enough to determine what's food and what's not. You know what I mean? I mean, what that mechanism is,
Okay, so
We can
then
look
let me
into
add-
that.
Then,
We can
then,
dig
then
into
I could
that, but-
perfectly, so I could perfectly follow this. Actually, do your cells have awareness?
I would say I don't think so, not to the degree that we do, but I would say they'd have some awareness. Like our white blood cells have some type of awareness, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I'm getting at. So how do they have this awareness of knowing what cells are bad and
Well,
what cells
we'd have to
aren't
ask a
bad?
microbiologist. I have no idea. I don't know.
They actually
But-
have no idea. Let me
but
tell
they have-
let
but
me
they-
tell you
but
straight
they
to the
have a-
point,
but
bro.
they
They
have
don't
a-
know either.
Okay, but they have a certain. I mean, if you're saying a
They don't know
why,
either.
well, see, the thing is
Yeah.
that I don't know. Chat, am I lagging? Am I lagging, chat? Is it me?
Shit, my bad.
Oh, I just got
think
the-
it was my. I think it was my shit.
Oh
I
no.
was connected to a Wi-Fi. My bad.
Okay. All right. Well, it just gave me a thing that says I'm on an unstable connection, which is weird because I'm wired straight into my router. So I don't know why it would say that, but
No, you're good. I think it was mine. I think it was mine. It was
okay.
mine. It was mine.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. So
I think I
go
think
on.
you're asking a different why, and I know the why you're asking. Like, what's the purpose, right? I think you're asking for purpose, right?
What's the what's the
What's the purpose
what do you
of
mean? What's the
like
purpose of what?
of
No, no,
consciousness
no,
or
not no, no. That wasn't necessarily the question I was asking. Like I was getting to, I think things can have function without experience.
I agree. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I agree with you, and
Okay.
it's possible that white blood cells, function and have no experience. It's possible. It could be argued they have experience. I just don't know enough about it to talk with you about it. You know what I mean? I really don't know.
Okay. So okay. So so let me ask you then. So if you agree with that, right? Do you agree that processes don't feel anything?
Processes don't feel anything. Yeah, because they're not sentient.
Right.
Yeah, they're just processes.
Okay, and do you agree with relations aren't subjects?
Relations aren't subjects. Yes and no. Depends. Because like
Why do you say yes and no? Talk
two
to me.
subjects could be like if my wife and I are both subjects. I mean, we have a relation. We have a relationship.
That's not what that's not what I meant.
Yes, I know. That's why I said it depends. Yes and no.
No, bro, you know what we're talking about.
No,
He
I
is talking
don't.
about his wife. What are we talking about, bro? No. Okay.
Relations
So I mean, like,
relations and subjects. So like I consider, like if you're thinking subjects and predicates. Oh, and by the way, I think a lot in literal terms. So if you use
okay,
terms with me, I'm just going to think of literal the first thing. So if you're using like
okay,
figurative language, you might have to explain it to me. Yeah, it's just kind of how I operate.
okay. Well, it wasn't really figurative, but it was more like in a different
Maybe a different context, but not
there you go,
that
there
kind
you
of
go.
relations like with my wife. No, I'm talking to like,
Yeah.
like with my brother. My brother and I are subjects, and I have a relationship with my brother, right? So
Well, no, that's still not what I'm
okay,
it's not,
okay.
no, not relations as in like that, bro. This guy said relationship. No, I'm talking about like relations as in neuron A can fire to neuron B, but is neuron A you?
No, it's not. It's not me.
Okay.
It's a part of me.
Okay, so okay, perfect. And so do you think consciousness is necessary for survival?
Consciousness necessary for survival? No, because other organisms don't have consciousness, aren't
Oh,
conscious,
so
and
then
then they
there you
survive.
go. So then consciousness becomes something ontologically extra. There you go.
Yeah,
You
but that
just
doesn't.
you just
What that?
completely disprove the materialist view in a
Okay,
couple
that's
questions.
fine. That's
Thank you very
fine. Well, I'm not a materialist though. That's the problem. Okay, so we spent 27 minutes disproving the materialist view, and I'm not a materialist. I'm a fallibilist. So I'm like, okay, well, we just disproved materialism. All right, but I think maybe his connection went bad, or he got a call. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not a materialist. Okay, so he dropped, but okay, well, we just spent 27 minutes disproving materialism. Okay. Wait, no evidence for God, which is what I'd asked him like a long time ago. So I was just like waiting for it to get there, and it never got there. Mistake. Well, he's kind of lumping materialism and physicalism, but then okay, so now I'm a fallibilist, and we can probably find an atheist idealist, an atheist relationist, a relativist, an atheist realist. Then he's going to have to now debunk all of those other worldviews. So, okay, fine. He debunked one world. Let's just, even if we assume that he did, I'm not even sure that he did debunk one worldview. He might have like took a chunk out of it, maybe, but I don't know. I mean, it's like I'm not a materialist, so so you know, all right. I mean, but to assume that all atheists are materialists or physicalists that's pretty funny. That was a lot of questions, yeah. So pretty funny. All right, we got 2 in the YouTube queue, so let's give that a shot. I haven't tried that in a while. Let's try Duke. So we have Duke and Trevor, but then we have 3 in the TikTok queue as well. But let's try Duke. So I gotta bring you in here. So give me a second, Duke. And again, if you're in the guest queue on either side, you must be at least 18, a believer in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran, and also please have evidence that God is real. So, all right, let's see if we can hear Duke. So one more second, Duke. I'm almost there. All right. So now that part is done. And then we have to mute you in Video Ninja. I have to go to that screen. All right, Duke, can you hear me?
Hello?
How's it going, Duke? Yep. How's it going, Duke?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for asking. All right. We have to follow TikTok terms of service, even though you're probably watching me on YouTube. But are you at least 18?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm 21. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And then, which God do you believe in, Duke?
I believe in the Christian God. I was here like a week ago when we were discussing that suffer.
Okay.
One.
Okay. I think. Oh yes. Okay. I think. Yes, I remember now. I remember the name. I don't remember what we talked about. And your voice sounds familiar. Okay.
The one with the weird voice.
Oh, because you had a cold. Was that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's what it was. Okay, I remember now. Yeah, we had a pretty good discussion, and we actually we had like 2 parts. It went like twice. Yeah. It's pretty good. Okay.
I know. I've been so busy with work and stuff. So.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries, man. Hey, it's good to see you back. Okay. Well, well, you're up. So let's just do it. So, all right. Well, this time's a little different. So now we're gonna have the God is real talk, because I know you were wanting to like drift to that. So, and I kept having to say, no, God is good. God is good. Yeah. So now we can talk about that. It sounds a little more natural for you. So, okay. What do you got? Yeah.
So, okay. So I like looking at like properties of God, because so if we say, if we define God as like the sum of all positive properties, right?
If we define them as all positive properties, okay?
Yeah, if we define them, yeah. So if we do that, and if we say if property is positive and it is purely qualitative, right? So, and it does not imply this limitation. Like, for example, like knowledge is positive, whereas like being small is like a limitation of size, right?
Okay.
So these positive properties, like we have I'm pretty sure I said this last week, like truth, power, necessity, courage.
Mm-hmm.
Those are logically compatible, right? They can, like, for example, they can't contradict, you know? So
if they're all positive and they don't contradict each other?
The reason why is because contradictions only arise from negations or limits. That's why. So like for example, I'm pretty sure I said this last week, I think, but like if we go by like concept of a godlike being, right? Which is like an entity possessing all positive properties.
Yeah.
So if we take that and if we try to take that axiom, right, and that if a being exists, like let's say necessarily in one possible world, right, it has to exist
okay.
in all possible worlds, because necessary existence is itself this positive property, because as existing by your own nature is greater or more perfect than depending on something else, right? So like this is what happens, like a godlike being must possess it, I guess.
Okay, so this sounds like something like the S5 modal ontological argument.
The S5 modal logic. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and finish it out. So just so that we kind of give chat the understanding of where you're going.
Yeah, yeah. So like basically, like on this way. So if the proof lies in, like, if we go back to like what you're saying with like the modal collapse of possibility,
Mm-hmm.
and we put that um into like actuality for, like, let's say necessary truths,
Mm-hmm.
it if it is even, let's say, logically possible for a necessary being to exist, then there has to be, so like the being, by definition of what is necessary,
Mm-hmm.
is that it cannot be otherwise in any other world. So I'm going to end this up. So if God exists, let's say in world B, right, he has to exist in world A,
Yep.
because if we deny God's existence, right, we one person is basically forced to argue like the very concept of supreme positive being, let's say, is like logically absurd,
Okay.
like a round square. So if God does not exist, even logic itself would have no foundation upon which to stand, which basically renders the very act of doubting him like a logical impossibility.
Okay. All right. And then, all right. So I'm just kind of typing this out, just so that we can kind of look at it and show chat and all this other stuff. So,
Gotcha.
So you're defining God as a maximally great being, all positive properties, no contradictions, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so that'd be P1. Here, let me switch to my whiteboard so we can see this properly. Okay. You see that above my head? I was just typing it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
So necessary existence is a positive property. Does that sound right?
Yeah, positive property. Yep.
Okay. P3, if such a being exists in one possible world,
It has to exist.
then
Yeah.
by S5 modal logic, it exists in all possible worlds.
Right.
Okay. And then, so conclusion, therefore, God exists. Is that about right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay, so I'm gonna introduce a being called the No-No. Have you read Peter Van Inwagen? He's a philosopher.
I've not that I know of. I might have come across him, but
okay, he's got a book called Metaphysics, and it's about that thick. And
okay.
And so he talks about somewhere around like 193. I'm thinking. I just read it recently, but he talks about this being called the No-No, and so this being is a necessarily existing being with all positive properties, defined identically to God, except it's not God. And the other piece of it is that this being, the No-No, has 100% proof that knows for a fact that no gods exist, and that, which is why it's called the No-No. It knows no God exists. The No-No. So all we do is we just swap the No-No into the syllogism. So we define the No-No as a maximally great being, all positive properties, no contradictions. Necessary existence is a positive property. If such a being exists in one possible world, then by S5 modal, it exists in all possible worlds. Therefore, No-No exists. So that means the No-No exists, but it knows that no gods exist.
Okay.
And it works. So it's the same thing, right?
Right. So you're basically like that argument is basically putting, like, it's kind of like, I'm pretty sure it's called apophatic theology, you're saying, but like in a negative sense.
In a way, yeah. In a way.
Okay.
But what we're doing is we're just assigning it the same basically the same properties, and then we're just adding one more because it says, because you would agree that one of the properties of God is that God knows that God exists, right? And
right.
that's not a contradiction. We would call that a positive property, knowing you exist, right? And he knows this maximally, right? So God knows maximally that he exists, and that's not a contradiction. And so by the same, the No-No knows maximally that no gods exist.
Okay.
And so then there's no contradiction there, right?
Well, okay. In this sense, right? So if we go by the what's it called? The a priori proof or whatever it's called.
Mhm.
If we okay, let's assume something. So let's say that argument fails. Not because God doesn't exist, right? But because it tries to contain God within a syllogism, right? So if we say, like, on a very sophisticated level, where a God who can be proven to exist through, let's say, like, this logistical trick or whatever you want to call it, in what I said, with all the possible worlds. So, and we are so my point of that, the proof kind of treats existence as like the property of self to be checked off with the list, whereas that part goes within my statement of, let's say, like, theism, where if those, what you were explaining, if they maintain that God is the subsistent existence itself, right? Like how you say God knows himself, that he's real. Those cannot be captured by the positive properties. So I'm pretty sure it's called like the Gödel's math, where he's trying to put it under the logic of self by proving God that way. But the issue where I see this is that I think he's trying to risk creating like a logical map, and he's confusing it for let's say like the territory of the divine, right? So if we view logic as if I'm not saying we view logic as like the superior form of it, because that proof would rely fully on that axiom. I'm not trying to rely on that, because we have to look at the human conceivability of this.
Okay.
Of saying that we have an idea of that through that, but if we can cite that in a way to it doesn't, I want to say it causes a modal collapse of logic, because you have to ignore the very fact that existence of itself is a logical necessity. So it kind of like, I don't know. You can go on with that.
Okay. Well, I guess what I'm trying to understand is, because the other piece to this is, would you agree, like, if there is this no that, again, knows for a fact that no gods exists, and it could be how it knows is, it could just be, a logical equation, it could be a piece of data, a piece of data, it could be anything, but it knows for a fact no gods exists. And if we take it further, like how you did with God, if this no exists in one possible world, then you would agree that then no gods exist in any possible world, because this no knows that no gods exist.
I want to say that. Let me try to explain this in a better way, because I kind of suck at explaining things, because I'm trying to put everything that I know into one slant.
I got you.
If we put this argument, and we put that being that knows for a fact there is no God across all possible worlds.
Well, it just knows it's in its own possible world, right? But if we've got this maximally great being that exists in one possible world, then it must exist in all possible worlds. So we're just taking the opposite of that. We've got this no that knows that no gods exist in just its own. And if it exists in one possible world, that means no gods exist in any possible world. It negates the existence of God in any possible way.
So like it eliminates the absolute certainty of any possible God that exists in any corner of any possible reality.
Right. And so the next thing you'll have to do is you'll have to demonstrate like the contradiction in a no, and see if you concede that the no is possible, then that means that God, this isn't really, the S5 isn't really a demonstration that God exists, because if the because you would have to demonstrate that the no is not possible in any world.
Well, this is the thing that I have with the no thing, with the contradiction, is that I think it's this is what I was trying to explain earlier, is that I feel like the no being kind of it's trying to steal the clothes of the creator to perform the act of denying him.
No,
For
it's not.
example,
It's just saying, all it's saying is, if it's possible that this no exists in one possible world, and the way you do that is through the logic of possibility, right? There's like a
yeah.
two-pronged test, right? And so you see, is the existence of a no is it self-contradictory? And you
Well,
can't say it is.
for let's say, to know for a fact, like let's say if that God, to like any data or equation, that nodo being does not exist in any possible world, because what happened is that it would require omniscience, right?
No,
Because well, he would
no.
need omniscience to survey every metaphysical corner of reality, and
Well, how do you
the
know that?
omnipresence of that.
How do you know that? Because if it's just a piece of information that he has, why does he need omniscience? If it's just a piece of information that proves that there are no gods exist, it could be a math equation. It could be anything. But why does omniscience have to be a, yeah? You have to
Well,
demonstrate that to me.
well,
I don't see that. I don't see why omniscience is required.
so so if we're trying to prove, okay, in this scenario, we're trying to prove that that something does not exist is significantly harder than proving something that does exist, right? So,
Right. So, but the way to do it is to demonstrate that it's logically impossible for a no to exist. Like, for example, a squared circle, logically impossible that it exists. So you can demonstrate a negative here. Squared circles don't exist because they are self-contradictory, and that's it. So they're self-contradictory.
Well, the thing is, with that contradiction is that if it doesn't need omniscience, then their knowledge is finite, because if their knowledge is finite, there is a boundary to what they know.
Okay,
and that contradiction lies in the fact that that being could easily reside in the 99% of reality that the being has not yet discovered, right? So if we rule out God's existence in that, let's say that 99%, without looking at it as an act of blind faith and not data. So to know is to imply, not just to guess, right? That he is absent, like the no God being must expand his knowledge to 100%.
What degree percentage do you know that your mother exists?
100%.
100%. Are you omnipotent or omniscient?
Well, I think that's kind of that's you're trying to put me in like a trap here.
Well, but you know 100% that your mother exists. Oh, thanks for the super chat, Henri. Keep up the great work. Thank you, friend. I will continue to do so. So, but you know 100% that your mother exists, yet you're not omniscient. So that kind of defeats your own argument.
That's a category error in a way, because
how?
Because so if we say like the no God being, because it falls into this fallacy because it confuses knowing a person with ruling out a category of existence, right? So the category error here is the where versus the is, right? The reason you don't need omniscience to know your mother exists is that she is contingent physical being located in space-time, right?
Okay.
So to prove she exists, you only need like a single point of data, like a hug, a DNA test, a photo.
Right. So now this is becoming tautological, because you're just saying, well, God has all these properties, but you haven't demonstrated that God has any of these properties. So now you're going to have to demonstrate that this God is not contingent, because you're only asserting that he's necessary.
Well, okay.
So now you have to demonstrate that he's necessary, because you only asserted it, and it did say, because it says define God as a maximally great being, all positive properties, no con. So we've only defined it, but we haven't demonstrated it.
So okay. I think there's two areas of this. So if we look at the internal coherence of his properties, right? And then like I know we're going back and forth with like the coherence of this and the logical necessity of his existence.
Mm-hmm.
So if we say, how do I say this? The issue that many people do with the argument from contingency is they try to pull this fallacy from the fallacy of composition. So just because, like, for example, let me give you an example of this to prove what I'm saying. So if every brick in a wall is small, right, it doesn't mean the wall itself is small, right?
Okay.
Like even if, let's say, everything in the universe is contingent, it doesn't logically follow that the universe as a whole is contingent. Because
Totally
the
agree with that.
universe,
Because I think the universe is necessary. So I totally agree with you.
right? Well, the thing is, this is the other properties is that if we say logic demands a non-contingent foundation, the area of this is I'm not sure if you would go with this, but you would try to leap from, let's say, a necessary foundation to an omniscient, to, like, from my point of an omniscient God. This is I view that as like special pleading, because what's happening is that it's exempting one specific entity from the rules applied to everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where the idea of this is that the no God being, it has to be omniscient to point out the definition of God itself, because but what happens is it becomes logically impossible, because if I go back to what I said earlier, if the clothes, which are the attributes of what is self-contradictory, you don't need to search other things of the universe to know they aren't being worn.
I could say the same thing about a no-no. The definition of a no-no is that it knows because that's the name. It's in the name, no-no. It knows for a fact that no gods exist. It's just defined as that. So now if we have the definitions in place, and you're saying, well, the definition of God, it has to be omniscient. Well, the definition of no-no is it has to know that no gods exist. I mean, it's the same thing. Same
exact thing. Can I ask
you
a question?
Yeah.
Would you claim that the universe is like, let's say, like I'm not sure if you've heard of it, like the brute fact of it?
I don't subscribe to the brute fact of the universe. No, I disagree with that. I'm a fallibilist. So as a fallibilist, it's evidence based, and the evidence we have is quantum mechanics for the existence of an eternal universe.
Okay, so like you would say, like you are essentially a weaver of going back to someone who goes to. So you,
like, for example, as a fallibilist, easiest way as a fallibilist to understand it is if evidence came out tomorrow debunking that the universe is eternal, then the universe is long. Like it proves that there's proof that the universe is not eternal, that it's finite. Then I would believe that the universe is finite. But based on the evidence that we have, like, for example, as a fallibilist, I'm with you that your mother exists, right? You can show me all the evidence, and I'm gonna accept it as, and if it checks out, like, for example, it's not a fake birth certificate and all that stuff, right? Let's just assume it's everything you show me is legit, all the evidence that your mother exists. Well, then I'm gonna accept that your mother exists. Now, if you came to me tomorrow and said, actually, my mom doesn't exist, here's a death certificate, she died 3 years ago, then that would change. You see what I mean? So that's what fallibilism is about. It's based on the truth is based on the evidence that we have.
Okay, that gotcha. So how would you contrast something that is considered a necessary thing versus a necessary being?
Well, my understanding of a necessary being, because this is kind of where it kind of runs into problems. I would say a necessary existence means that contingent things rely on it, right? But a necessary being, it seems like that's the case too, that contingent things rely on this necessary being for existence, but then there's some other things in it, like this being is unchanging. I mean, these are things that I've heard from other people who have run the S5 by me, like God's unchanging, he's not made of parts, all that stuff. So I guess I kind of punch it back to you, how do you define, is that kind of in line with what you're what you're kind of where you're going?
With what is
as far as a necessary being, yeah.
So my way of describing it, like, for example, I know you know this. I'm a Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I look into a lot of arguments for God. Like I try to debate.
I see that. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, and well, so again, if we even go back to, like, why can't the universe be, if you say why can't the universe be necessary, right? Which I see that argument a lot, which I see the understanding of that. So if I, as a theist Christian, if I argue that the universe is contingent because it could have been different, then obviously you would say, okay, why can't that be brute matter or energy that can be the necessary thing, right? So how I'll go with that of what is necessary.
All right.
Is I would have to. What was that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So like if we stop the why at something that simply is, the issue is that the thing is I don't see a logical rule saying that something must be outside of who God is, right? And of like ignoring of God, right? And all these physical laws and all the fundamental fabrics of the universe could people might say, oh, could that be the necessary being? But the issue of that is it's existing by its own nature without relying on an entity. So you have to rely on a strong firm of faith to assert that if these laws and all these things rely on themselves, then you can't really. It's more of like you can't trust what it is.
Okay. Well,
but then you have to go back to the logic of how strong it is.
Okay. Now, when you said the laws rely on themselves, what do you mean by that?
Like without an entity.
Without an entity. Okay. What laws are we talking about?
No, like literally every single law in the universe.
Like laws of physics? Something like that?
So
laws of thermodynamics? Is that what you mean?
So like if we go by like basically literally every single law of nature is.
Well, those are descriptive laws, right? So it's just these are all descriptive laws. Like these are things that we've identified.
Like the law of causality and like the law of non-contradiction, like those laws too, right? Like the principle.
Yeah, and those are still but those are still descriptive, right? I mean, I do say like the laws of logic are foundational and they're part of our reality, right? And I do say that, although I don't, but I still call them descriptive. I don't say that they don't need anything to exist, if that makes sense. They're just part of our reality. I mean, if you want to jump and call that brute fact, I mean, I don't call it brute fact because it's foundational. It's not like because in order to figure out the laws of logic, you have to use the laws of logic, right? Ooh, we have a philosopher who can kind of help out with this. So I got a philosopher friend. Hi, Livia. How are you?
Hi, I'm great, thanks. You keep calling me a philosopher, and maybe one day I'll live up to that.
Maybe, yeah. You know what? I consider you a philosopher, so you know a lot more than me about this. That's for sure. But yeah. So but yeah. So Duke, this is my friend Livia. Who can you hear Livia, Duke?
I can't. No.
Oh God damn it! That's right. Okay. Anyway, I can't. Oh, that's right. He's because the guest is on YouTube. Livia. Shit, I forgot about that. Okay, so it's clear it's not working. All right, I thought it was working, but it's not. But I think I might have to forge this alone because
that's totally cool.
Because I think you can hear them, but they can't hear you. That's the problem.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I can just mention one quick thing, and then I'll mute, and then I'm here if you need me.
Okay, sounds good.
So this conversation piqued my interest, and what I was going to mention was that logic it doesn't require existence at all.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was getting to.
Yeah, if there was nothing, it would be true that there was nothing.
Okay, stop right there so I can repeat what you said. So, Duke, what we were kind of discussing is, and this is where I was going to go with you, is Livia was going to say that logic doesn't require existence. And what was the second part you said, Livia?
Oh, just as an example, like if there was nothing, it would be true that there's nothing. So the logical operator true still applies.
For example, if there was nothing, then it would be true that there was nothing. So then the laws of logic would still apply, even though there is nothing. Does that make sense, Duke?
I don't. I want to say I would fully. Is that okay if I can test that? Can she hear me?
She can hear you. You just can't hear her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if I try to if we say that it would be true that there is nothing, I can see it's trying to smuggle a truth claim and how like the existence of truth itself like into this state of non-existence, right? Because for example, truth is a property of propositions, right? And propositions are the products of a mind. Therefore, how do I say this? A true state of nothingness is a logical contradiction, because what happens is it requires the existence of a standard of truth to verify the absence of everything else. So if logic was merely nothing, it would have no governing power over reality. But because the laws of logic are invariant, universal, necessary, they must be grounded somehow.
Why?
And this necessary what was that?
Why do they have to be grounded?
Well,
I know because you're saying because they're eternal, because of this, because of that, but none of that really like is a requirement saying, well, therefore then they're grounded and they have to be grounded. Like that just seems like a contrived rule.
Well, the thing is that because I think what I could go by is this dependency of the propositions, right? So, like how I said earlier, that truth, I define truth as a property of propositions, right? Which are statements about reality. So these proper, oh, I can't speak. I'm sorry. These propositions require a subject, which is someone to think them, and then an object, which is the thing being thought about, right? And it has to be above us, right? We didn't create the laws, right? And so if
nobody created the laws. Yeah, I contend that nobody created the laws. They're just it's part of our reality, right?
Right, but then if we say for truth to exist, then let's say in this reality, there has to be a mind, and that mind would have to be eternal that has been thinking these true propositions before humans ever existed. And this is where I'm getting to with the ground.
Let me stop you right there real quick. Let me ask you a question. Does 1 + 1 is 1 + 1 = 2 is true, right?
Yep.
Does it cease being true if no minds exist?
Yes.
How?
Well, so if you're saying that these laws have to be given to us, but again, we are
okay. So just so I'm clear, because there was a point, because I mean, in an atheist world, there was a point in time where there were no minds, right? It was all just cells, right? It was all single-celled organisms. Are you telling me that there weren't actually two single-celled organisms at one time because there were no minds to understand that? Because that's 1 + 1 = 2. So that means that there weren't one single-celled organisms on the earth at one time. Because there were no minds to understand that. That's what you're telling me.
Well, I'm still trying to go over the 1 + 1 thing.
Well, 1 + 1 = 2, right? We can call that a fact, right? That's true.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And so, because my question to you was, does 1 + 1 = 2 cease to become true if no minds are around to understand that? And you said, yes. And then I said, well, then that would mean that at some point, if there were only 2 single-celled organisms on the Earth, there actually weren't 2 single-celled. What were they then? Like, what was the number?
Well,
and that just collapses all of math, because then that means that if there were a million single-celled organisms, there weren't any single-celled organisms. You see where I'm going with this?
Well, I do, but I'm seeing I do and I don't, because it's revealing more problems to me, because the issue.
I should hope so.
Well, no. So if we go by this, let's say if we go by like this theistic, conceptual, realistic thing with mathematical laws, right?
And we'll do the last point because I got to get the kickball. We're kind of over time, but go ahead. Say your last piece. Sorry. Yeah, I'm going to start.
Okay, but so those mathematical laws exist because they are the necessary thoughts of something. For something to be necessary, it needs a necessary mind.
Okay.
Right? Because necessary of itself has to be directed.
Okay,
right?
So then that kind of goes back to my question. So if there were only single-celled organisms on this Earth, or Adam and Eve, there were only 2 people on this Earth, right? Okay. Well, no. We'll go back to that. If there was only single-celled organisms on this Earth, are you telling me that no single-celled organisms exist because there were no minds around to count them?
Then no organism.
That's basically what you're telling me.
Can you try to can you rephrase the question a little bit? I'm having like a blockade right now.
Well, because I'm just kind of going back to the assert, because the answer to the question I asked you was, if 1 + 1 = 2 would cease to become truth if there were no minds around, and you said yes, that it would cease to become truth. And then I said, well, then that means that if they're only single-celled organisms, then there's no way to count them. They wouldn't exist, because then 1 + 1 = 2 would cease to become true.
Okay.
So then how do you count them at this point? Like, what is their number? We can't can't say there's no number. I mean, there's a number, there's a quantity of single-celled organisms, right? Even if there are no minds. Like if there are no minds left and the universe is still intact, wouldn't there still be planets? Let's just say there's still planets. Yeah? And then how do we count the planets if 1 + 1 is no longer 2?
But the issue that I found with this is that information of anything, of planets or cells, information can't arise from unguided matter, right? It's like, for example, if you see a code, right, you have to look for something that guides that code, right?
Well, again, that's descriptive. I mean, that's just us understanding it and calling it things. That's a descriptor, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a number. That doesn't mean that there aren't planets. That doesn't mean that because there's no minds around to understand that. Does that make sense? Like, there wouldn't. Yeah. So anyway, well, they did vote to move on, Duke. So I got to move on. But hey, I appreciate you.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one, man.
Yeah. Good talk. Have a good one. Appreciate it.
You too.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, that was I don't know. I mean, was I going down the right train, Livia? I mean, was I on the right train? Because it just seems to me, yeah, if you say 1 + 1 = 2 is no longer that because there are no more minds, then we can't count anything. We can't, like, if there's just a million rocks, then there cease to be a million rocks on the planet. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yep, you nailed it.
Okay.
It sounded to me like the guest was inventing a requirement and then using God to solve that requirement.
Yeah. That's what it sounded like to me too. It was an invention of a requirement. Like he was saying, you have to have this, you have to have that. And I'm like, well, why? I don't see why you have to have that. That doesn't, yeah. So that, okay. So you saw that too. I was like, yeah, that's not making a lot of sense. I mean, we're just kind of making up the rules as we go here, like, well, you have to have this, you have to have, well, why? I mean, why do you have to have that? I don't get it.
Indeed. So, and like, you can even take it down to, how many atoms were there, right?
Yes, exactly.
So,
yeah.
So I'm going to drop down.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me up for a short time.
You've got it. Appreciate you coming up, friend.
Yeah. All right. Take care. I'm going to
All
be
right.
listening.
Okay. See ya. Okay. So we'll head back over to the TikTok queue. But before I do that, before I forget again, we have an announcement. So we need to get that out of the way. All right. So I remembered right when I pulled the guest up, like 3 minutes after I pulled the guest up, I was like, shit.
Oh no, you're good. I honestly wasn't even expecting to do it today. I have been mostly awake since 1 a.m.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah.
your sleep sometimes gets a little funky. So sorry to
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah.
been rough ever since I moved, but
Yeah, I hear that.
trying to figure it all out, but not sure
Okay.
exactly. But yeah, so I can do one, yes.
Okay.
I can do
I
yes.
appreciate
Okay,
you. Thank you.
hi. Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to Trust But Verifies Live. We are really glad to see you. We have 96 people in here, and that's really great. If we could, let's see, we are at 28.8K likes. If we could get that up to 50, I know that we can do that with the amount of people we have in here. That would be great. We're at 44 shares. I would love for us to get to 100 shares by the end of the live, or more than that. So keep sharing it out. Long press the screen so that you can share it out more easily, and repost the live as well. If you are interested in supporting Trust just more consistently, he does have different memberships on different platforms that he is on. We've got the, what is it? The YTube. There we go. YTube. And Twit. So those other two ones. He also has a Discord. And we have anyone and everyone in there. It's not an atheist Discord. So we like to have discussions and education. So if you are interested, just go to the link in Trust's bio. You will have to copy it into your web browser, and it should work. If it doesn't, just let one of us mods know, and we'll be happy to help. And let's see. We do have the kick poll goal. If you send enough let 'em cooks then during the guest, then the kick poll will come up, and we have the opportunity to move on to the next guest. If you do just want to get rid of the guest, there you can also send a jellyfish, and there is an option for YTube for 5 or 10 super chat. Yeah, I think I got everything.
Yeah, you did.
Excuse me. The last one is no spamming, no preaching in chat, no being rude. We want to be in this in good faith discussions, so we really appreciate you doing that in chat. So, and no caps as much as possible. We do call that out. I even call it out on friendly, so it's not it's not towards just people who have opposing views. So, and Ace, yes, Ace does have a coupon.
Yes, Ace has a coupon, and there's two others, and I can't remember. I think it's Jessica Wright, and there's one other person. Can't remember, but I know Ace and Jessica Wright are two of them.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I'll keep an eye out for those as well. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here. Trust appreciates you, and
definitely.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of the discussions. Keep participating. We really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, definitely do. All right. Thank you, Ember. And
of course,
give them a nice round of applause, some W's, take a bow. So appreciate you, as always.
Of course.
All
absolutely.
right. Thanks, friend. Okay. So, all right, we got that out of the way. Okay, so let's move on to our next guest. We're gonna jump back over to the TikTok queue. We had a couple people waiting in there. I know I have at least one person waiting in the YouTube queue. So I think what I'm gonna do when I have co-hosts up, I'm just gonna shut down the YouTube side until I can figure out like why I can't get them, until I can figure out how I can get them to everybody to communicate. But all right, let's bring up the next one.
Hello?
How's it going?
Good.
You there?
How are you?
Oh.
Hello?
Yep, you're on.
Yes.
Okay.
Here.
All right. It's a little bit hard to hear you, so you might want to like speak up a little louder, or maybe move closer to your mic.
Oh,
So you're a
okay.
little
Sorry,
faint.
All right, can you hear me now?
It's a little bit faint. But let's see if we can work with it. Okay. All right. So appreciate the wait, and just for TikTok purposes, you're at least 18.
Yes.
Okay. And which pronouns do you prefer?
He, him.
Okay. And then let's see, Toronto Bible Study. So, okay. Safe to say you're a Christian. So there we go. And what's the best evidence that you have that God is real?
Well, I was actually going to run the contingency argument that guy was running before, but he didn't run it quite properly, in my opinion. So
Okay.
I thought I could give you a better version. I mean, he was starting with the idea of a maximally great being, which we don't need to start there. We need to start with the idea that the universe has all these things that are contingent.
Okay.
I guess you were trying to claim that the universe itself is necessary, but then
Yep.
if you want to make that claim, you need to show that, right?
Well, so
it's
do
like
you. You need to show also that God is necessary. So how do you demonstrate that?
No, I'm not even going there yet. My point was just that, but the argument is that our argument is like this: that if there's a universe and if it's contingent, then there must have been something which is necessary to ground it. And
Yeah.
Therefore, and
Yeah.
then we would make the argument for God. Right?
Okay.
But whereas you're saying the universe is necessary.
Yeah, because
So
we
then
have
you should
evidence
show
through
that.
quantum mechanics that time, space, energy, and gravity are all eternal. And
Eternal,
so-
wait. Eternal. What do you mean by eternal? Eternal is it necessary?
always existed. And so they're necessary for the makeup of the universe. So if
Wait,
I mean, if you define terms differently and you're saying, okay, I've heard, all right, oh, okay, I recognize your voice. Yeah. So if you're simply saying, well, God is necessary because, so we're using different definitions of necessary.
I'm not going to talk about God yet. I'm just talking about the fact that you're
Well,
trying
you
to
need
say
to
that
talk
the
about
universe
God
is
because the
necessary.
question is, what's your best evidence that God is real?
Yeah,
So
I know. Well, we're
you're trying to
talking
flip.
about-
You're trying to
no,
flip the
wait,
burden
wait.
of proof. I'm not going to let you do that.
No, I'm not saying that. You were saying that.
Okay,
I was saying that.
All right.
I'm trying to say, wait. This is my argument, right? My argument is the universe is not contingent. Therefore, we need some kind of necessary being. And you were
We
saying
need
to
some
that
necessary
guy-
being. Okay.
you were
And
saying to
then
that
what's
guy
and then
that
why do we need
therefore-
it? Why do we need a necessary being? Because the universe is
necessary
not
being to
contingent.
ground- because the universe is contingent. Yeah.
Okay. So you said the universe. Okay, hold on. So the universe is contingent. So we need a necessary being, and we need a necessary being because the universe is contingent. Is that what you're telling me?
No, wait.
It's a circular argument.
Wait.
That's what you said, right?
No, that's not. No, wait. The universe is contingent, so we need a necessary being. Okay.
Okay.
And that's all that's the whole argument. There's no other thing like that. Why is
Okay.
the universe contingent? You're
Okay.
asking me why the universe is contingent.
Yeah. Why is the universe contingent?
Yeah, so you were saying that it's necessary, right? But it doesn't fulfill any of the features of being necessary. Like,
Well, yeah. When you make up your own definitions, yeah, it doesn't fit your definition of necessary.
No, nobody thinks it's necessary. For example,
Nobody thinks the universe is necessary. So you think planets can just survive all on their own without a universe?
Well, we're talking about what necessary.
What?
What is necessary? How do you define necessary? It's not necessary as in necessary means it could not have been any other way.
Yeah, and I assert that it could not have been any other way.
Why do you assert that? Well, what's the basis for that?
Because show me a universe that doesn't exist, that exists without time, space, energy, and gravity.
No, we're not saying just the existence of those things, but those things could have been different. They could have had other properties. They could have had other
Well, you said no other
parameters.
way, and I said show me another way that a universe can exist without time, space, energy, and
Okay,
gravity.
no, that's not what other no other way.
Okay,
is.
see,
I'm
now
saying-
when we define our own terms,
hold
when
on,
words don't
hold on.
mean
No,
words,
no,
then
no, you're defining the term wrongly here. You're saying that
I'm not defining the term wrongly. How am I
Yes, you are.
defining it
You're
wrongly?
saying- You're saying that any other way must mean that there's no gravity.
Did
no
you say?
time, no-
Did you say
so-
that? Did you say that it can't exist any other way? Did you say that?
Yes, that's
Necessary
what I said.
means
And
okay.
and
So
necessary-
then I
and
said,
so-
show
hold
me
on, hold on,
another
hold on.
way that a universe can exist without
All right.
time, space, energy, or
No,
gravity.
yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying to you.
That's another way.
Without those things, without those things is not what
Jesus.
is not the only other way we're talking about. Other way could just mean gravity is a little bit less, or time runs a little bit faster, or
Okay,
something like that.
but I said
That's
without
another
those
way.
things. That's then
well,
that's still another
you're
way.
You're defining another way as that.
I'm just defining another way as that, and all right.
Yeah, that's not what the necessary is. Necessary is to me. It couldn't have been any other way.
Okay, all right. So what's your definition of necessary? It couldn't have
could
been
not
any other way.
any other way.
Okay,
Yes.
and so God. So you're saying that God could not have been in any other way.
Yeah, leave that for now. Let's talk about the universe. The universe. So
No,
are you
we're-
accepting that
you're-
the universe is contingent? Are you accepting
No.
that now?
No, I don't.
Well, why? So then let's establish that.
And
okay,
even if you
based on
did prove that the
discussion-
universe is contingent, that's zero evidence that your God is real. So you're trying
well,
to you're
that's
trying to
later, that's
avoid
later.
you're
No,
trying to
no,
avoid
no,
having
no.
the conversation of God is real, because and you're trying to shift the burden of proof here. So
I'm not,
we gotta-
I'm not trying
we
to
gotta
shift the
get
burden
back-
of proof. I'm trying
Yeah.
to say. I'm trying to listen. This is what you're doing. You're trying to say that the universe is necessary, right? So until we establish the universe is not
I already said that,
necessary-
but the question about my head is what's your best evidence that God is real, and you're trying to make this about the universe being necessary, and that has
No, I'm
nothing to
saying
do with
you
God
that the
being
universe
real.
is not necessary. Therefore, we need some kind of necessary being.
Okay,
And I was going
and then demonstrate
the
that God
argument
is that
for God goes
necessary
like that.
being. So
Because God fulfilled the understanding of what the way we understand God fills the way God is usually understood to be, right?
okay, so
That's
how is
the
God
definition
understood?
of a necessary being?
Okay,
He's
and
powerful. He's timeless. He's
timeless.
eternal. He's unchanging,
Oh, boy.
etc. All these
right.
things. These things are how.
All right, let's
we
bust
can
timeless.
say-
Okay.
These
Okay.
these are the reasons why we can say that he fulfills the things that we require for a necessary being.
He
to
fulfilled,
exist.
yeah, definitionally, right? So this is just as on like on a tautological basis, right?
Tautologically, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there's a definition for the word
Okay,
necessary
all right.
being.
So
There are
okay.
features of a necessary being.
okay, so when then we can look at properties of God, and then we can see if this is the case, right? We can see if that's the case. So that's how we can test this, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so let's try and test it here. All right, let's go to my whiteboard. I have it on a tab here. I just got to find it. Okay, where is it? Give me just a second here. I cannot wait to get like multiple screens here because this will make things so much easier. Okay. Okay, yeah, we can just start with this. And I can just type the rest of it out. Okay, so P1, all acts of creation are a change of state. Do you agree or disagree?
All acts of creation are change of states.
Mhm.
The act is not a change of states. The creation is a change of state. But
Is the act of creation, well, is a creator acting, not acting and then acting?
his act is
Or
eternal.
is this creator always acting?
His act is eternal, yes.
So the act is his act is eternal. He's always acting. So God is always creating. I didn't ask that. I asked if God was always acting.
Yes, because
He's always creating because he's outside of time. Okay, well that's just a statement. So demonstrate that he's always creating. What's your evidence of that?
Well, no. Well, look, again, we're trying to say that you're trying to say now that you're trying to say that. What are you trying to say that?
Was there a time? Okay, so was there a time that
demonstrate that? We're just trying to.
was there
wait, we're trying
was
to
there a
establish-
time before? Was there a time before existence? Was there a point where nothing existed?
Yes.
Okay, so then that means God wasn't creating then, right?
No, he was, because he's outside.
What
of
was he
time.
creating?
His time creation thing is eternal. His
What was God
action-
creating? Well, he can't. Okay, but that's a contradiction. You can't be always creating and there be no creation.
He can,
So when
because
God
he's
was
outside of
always
time. He's not
okay,
within
so when God
time.
was
Such that-
always creating, then what
No,
was
no, no.
created?
No, you don't understand. It's not. He's not out. He's not within the time. This linear time system that you're.
It's not what I asked. Was
no,
he-
It is, because you're trying to suggest that
You're saying
there's
he's
this time-
you're saying he's
this time
always
when he was
creating. I'm
creating.
asking you what was
Hold on,
created
hold
if he
on.
was always
Yeah,
creating.
You're asking me when. You're asking me when.
I asked
right? When
what
is the
was
time
created.
question.
I asked
When is
what.
it- When is the time question? Is it not?
Okay.
Is
I-
the, is when is the
Okay, you
question
gotta
when?
ask, you gotta listen to what I'm saying. I said
Hold on.
what was created. That's my
Wait,
question.
What is created is the universe.
What was
and time.
created? Okay, and so you're saying that God was always creating the universe.
I'm saying that his action is eternal, in the sense that
Is God creating now?
Yes.
What is he creating?
Well, the thing is, now is also a time question too, right?
Okay, that's not the answer to my question. I asked you, you said yes, he's creating now. I asked you, what is he creating?
Okay, well, yeah, well, as I was saying to you, I'm just taking that back a little bit, because you're trying to be hostile about this. Instead
I'm
of
not being hostile. I'm trying to get a
You
straight
are, you
answer
are.
out
You're
of
trying
you.
trying to pin me down and stuff like that. Like, listen,
Oh,
dude,
I'm sorry. I'm
relax.
trying to pin you down. Yeah, I'm
Just
sorry.
Relax, just relax, dude. Why are you trying to like win the argument? Why aren't you trying to find the truth?
I am trying to
Like,
find the
that's
truth.
thing. Are
But
you
see-
trying to find the truth, then don't try to like bully me.
But see, the
into
thing is,
answers.
okay, so do we need to pull up Colossians 3:12 and Titus 3:2? Because
okay,
you're
go ahead.
Toronto Bible study, right? You should know what these are.
I don't know
'Cause I don't-
have off the top of my head.
You don't know them off the top of your head? Okay. So nobody gives a crap about the crying. Okay. I'm asking you questions and you're dodging my questions, and that's intellectually dishonest.
I'm not
And it starts
dodging your
annoying
question.
me. Okay,
You're-
then answer
you're
my
trying
question.
No, listen. I just said, look, as you said, you asked me, is God creating now? I said yes, but then whatever.
Okay.
whatever I thought about it, I
Then
said,
if he's
wait,
creating
hold
now,
on,
then what
hold
is he
on,
creating?
Hold on. I said to you, then I said, wait a minute. Now is also a time question. All right. So the
Is
idea
God
that
okay? Is God creating?
God is creating eternally. Okay. That's the idea.
Okay, so what is he creating?
Everything.
Everything.
That's not
That
him.
tells me nothing.
Everything that's not him. He creates
Okay.
everything that's not him.
Okay, so what is he creating? He's creating everything. So everything, so he's creating these earbuds. He's eternally creating these earbuds?
Yes, but we don't perceive that.
Makes
in the
no
same
fucking
way.
sense.
We
He's
don't
creating this
perceive that
smartphone.
way because
He's eternally
Pardon
creating
me?
this smartphone. So this smartphone has existed eternally. That's what you're telling me.
no, what I'm saying to you is time itself, right?
Okay,
is
yes or
just
no?
things make
Has this
eternal.
smartphone existed eternally? If
Hold
God
on,
is
hold on, hold
if
on,
God is
hold
creating,
on.
I have a question.
Wait,
If God is
listen,
creating
listen.
everything, has this
Listen.
smartphone existed eternally? Yes or no?
Listen to what I'm saying to you.
Okay, you're
Time-
dodging my
time
question
is-
again.
Time is the eternal. Time is the thing that he's creating.
Okay, if he's,
Time itself is the thing that he's creating. So
time
what we
itself is
perceive
what
as-
he's creating.
hold on. What we perceive as change, what we perceive as things that existed before they didn't exist later, or
Mhm.
whatever. Those type of changes that we perceive, that's just our perception. But in his eternal existence, he acts, his actions, his creation is eternal. You understand?
Yeah, I understand. It's bullshit. Okay.
Wow, dude.
So
That's your argument? Is that your intellectual argument?
okay,
It's BS?
here's my syllogism. P1, all acts of creation are a change of state. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All changes of state require a before and after. Do you agree or disagree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All befores and afters require time before and time after. Do you agree or disagree?
All befores and afters require time before and after. I'm not sure if that's entirely true because if something
Okay.
created time itself, the creation of time itself, the notion that time itself requires
Yeah,
a before
you
and
require
after.
it. It's saying that you require if there's a before and an after. So was there a before Adam and Eve?
I'm not. Wait. First of all, I'm not conceding to your third premise. So
Okay, well then demonstrate to me that that's wrong. Give me evidence that that's wrong.
you need to prove your premise. You're the one making the claim here. What are you
Okay,
thinking?
so all but I just did. Was there a before Adam and Eve?
That's not that. What is that? That's a question. That's not proving your claim.
There was a before Adam and Eve. True or false?
Yes, obviously.
Okay. There was an after Adam and Eve, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a before and an after, and that happened in time. So
So yeah,
you keep saying that there is you keep saying that these are temporal words, right? So before time, did that exist?
before time.
Before
Well,
time.
that's the thing. How could there be a before time? That's the thing.
That's exactly right. So there can't be a before time, and if all changes require a before and after, then you can't create time. Time has always existed. Time is eternal.
No,
So you can't create time.
No, wait. Because now you're making a claim. Again, you can't prove that claim.
I just
creations-
proved it. I just proved
How'd
it.
you prove it? How'd you prove it?
You just said there can't be a before time, and you agreed that all changes of state require a before and after. You agreed with P2. So I just proved it.
I agree
So
with
time
P2.
could not have been
I take
created.
back my P2. So I think P2 is incorrect then. My mistake.
Oh, okay. Now you're switching it because you don't like the implications of P2. All right.
No,
So
because
demonstrate
I didn't realize. No, I didn't
demonstrate
realize-
that P2 is okay.
I
Then
didn't
demonstrate.
realize that- hold on,
Okay.
because
All
ti-
changes of
because
state
time
require.
is P2.
Okay, so name a change of state that doesn't have a before and after.
The creation of time.
Creation of time. Okay, that's presupposing. That's a presupposition.
No, because by its very definition, time doesn't have a before and after.
Time doesn't have a
So-
before and after.
Yes.
Okay,
Time,
so
before
so
and
words
after
don't
is
mean
part of
words,
time.
basically. So
Before
what you're
and
saying
after
is so if you
before and
redefine
after-
time to
Hold on,
not
hold
have
on.
a before and after, then
No,
I'm
no.
right. This is just
No, I'm saying
you were so
no,
fucking
time
intellectually
itself-
dishonest. This is ridiculous.
Before and after is part of time, right? Is it not?
Okay,
Hold on.
Okay.
Before and after is part of time, is it not?
words never mean words. Yeah, time before and after is part of time. It's included in the
Right,
fabric of
so-
time.
So wait. So right, my
what was
point is
before
the
time?
creation of time. Hold on. The creation of time. The creation of time cannot have a before and after
Exactly.
because
So then you can't create time. You're proving my own syllogism. Thank
No, that
you.
doesn't prove that.
Appreciate
No,
these.
that means
Appreciate
your
it.
No,
All right, we're
no,
done.
Hello. Excuse me.
All right. You
That
got
doesn't
anything
prove
else?
Your syllogism. It doesn't
You just
prove your
proved it.
premises.
You just proved it.
No,
You
it
said there
doesn't.
you said
You
there
have to
can't
prove
be
it. You can't
s-
prove this premises. You can't prove
Yeah,
this.
you
You're
just-
claiming time.
you just demonstrated
has to-
it.
No, you're trying. No, you're trying to say that time must be part of the premise, or must people like.
Let's go back over it again. All acts of creation are a
hold on.
change of state.
Okay,
yes
I
or
don't-
no?
I don't believe that. No.
You don't now
Because
you don't
creation
believe
of
that.
time-
Now you're gonna reject everything.
Yes,
So
because the creation
name
of
me
time,
name me an act of creation that's not a change of state.
the creation of time.
The creation of time. Okay. And
Yes.
again, that's a presupposition.
No, it isn't. You're
So
presupposing P1.
wait, hold up. Okay, you said the
Prove
creation of
P1.
time.
Prove
Hold
P1.
on. You said the creation of time is not a change of state. Did you just say that?
Yes.
Okay. So it went from no time to time, right? Oh, he
it
knows
went
he's cooked.
from-
That's why he's pausing. Was there a no time and then there was a time, right? He knows he's cooked.
No time, and then there was a time. Well, that's the thing. That's
Bro,
the thing.
you're absolutely cooked.
No, it can't,
Was
no,
there
it can't be that there
was there a no
wait,
time
wait.
and then there was a time, right? It's a
No,
simple answer. It's a
wait,
yes or no.
No, wait. Because it implies that implies also
Got him.
time. No, by saying that implies time.
Was there
By
okay?
saying that there was no time.
You
and
said
then
the
there was
creation
a
of time. Was there time before time was created?
Was there time? No, there wasn't.
Okay, and then there was time, right?
Yeah, that doesn't mean then. The word then.
Okay,
when you say then-
he's not admitting it. He knows he's fucked.
I'm-
All right.
no, listen, no, what I
There was
never
no
admitted
you
is you're
you
wrong.
just said there's no
You're
time,
saying
right?
Then. You're saying then.
You
You're
said
saying
there
the
was no
word then.
time.
Listen, you're saying the word then.
Did you say
Then
there was
there-
no
then there
time?
was
Yes or
time,
no?
right?
Okay, we're not getting off of this
Wait.
until you answer the question. Did you say
Wait,
there was no
listen,
time? Yes or no?
Wait.
There is no
listen.
wait. You got to answer the question. Was
Dude,
there no time?
dude.
Yes or no?
Was there no time? I'm saying to you, no. Even the was is a time question.
Okay, you're
Was.
claiming that time was created. Was there? That means there was no time before time was created, right?
No, listen, dude.
Okay, he won't answer the question
saying
because he
before,
knows
you're
he
using
knows
time
what's
words.
going to happen. He knows
Listen,
exactly what is
listen.
going to happen.
Using time words to describe the creation of time. That is self-definite. That's like
Was there no
self-defeating.
time and then there was time? Because
Listen,
you're not
dude,
answering
do
the
you not
question.
understand? Listen,
Was there
listen,
no
listen,
time? Okay, I'm going to
listen.
answer. Okay, I'm not going to
Listen to
listen. You got to answer the
Yes,
question.
You don't want to listen because you're.
You gotta answer-
You
okay.
don't want to listen.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Did you just call me garbage? So, all right. Now we're shifting this. Now we're shifting this. So let's go look up Titus 3:2. So you just called me garbage. Is that right? No, you can unmute yourself, Toronto Bible Study. Go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Okay, my apologies. I didn't mean to say you're garbage. I mean to say this whole discussion is garbage though, because you're
Okay.
trying to.
So let's
you're trying to
review.
You're trying to use time. Hold on. Listen to me. You're
No.
trying to use
It's a
time
different
words.
question now. It's a different
You're
question
trying to
now.
use time words.
Okay, it's a different question
But
now.
Listen,
It's a different
dude,
question
you're
now.
trying to use time
No, when you
words.
start going meta and you start insulting people, this is what happens. You're going to have to
Okay, I
answer this question.
apologize for that,
Titus
dude.
3:2
Listen, dude, I
is
was
your
trying to say
behavior
this
in
discussion is
line
garbage.
with Titus 3:2? Is your behavior in line with Titus 3:2?
Yeah, so no, it wasn't. So I sinned. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. It happened.
All right.
That happens. So what's the
Colossians
problem?
3:12. What's Colossians 3:12 say? It's up on my board.
Yeah, dude, I apologize. What are you talking about? Are you trying to act like you never insult people? You never swear? What's wrong with you, dude?
Okay, are you going to
Anyway,
fucking
look,
read it or are you not going to read it? We're not
listen,
moving
no,
we're
I'm
not
gonna
moving
read it.
on
I'm not
until you
gonna
read it. You're not going to read it? Well, it's going to stay here
Therefore,
until you
thou
read it.
souls- This isn't even the proper Bible translation. What a joke.
It is
Anyway,
it is a proper
look.
Bible translation.
Look, listen, dude.
So that's your excuse for acting like an
I
ass is
insulted you.
that
I
it's not the
apologize.
proper
What do
it's
you
not the
want?
proper Bible
I-
translation?
I apologize.
But
to
this is the
you
third time you've
already.
done that. You've done this every time you've come up.
What
You
do
go
mean?
meta,
When have
and
I
you-
ever done it before?
Oh,
When have I ever done it
don't
before?
bullshit me. You've been on the
never
YouTube
insulted
side.
you.
You've been
You're
on the
one who
YouTube
insults
side.
me. You're the one who insults me, bro.
I
insulted
never
you.
insulted you. I just said your
I know-
argument
yeah,
is
you do.
bullshit.
You always insult me, and also you swear and stuff. It's just ridiculous.
I know I fucking swear because I
Ridiculous.
have every right to fucking swear.
Well,
This is
I
my
swear
fucking
'cause I
life.
have every right to. You're
Yeah,
just, you're not
it's every.
intellectual.
I have every
You're not
right.
trying
I
to
have every
discuss
fucking
this.
right to. I have
You're not
every
trying to
fucking right to
discuss this.
swear.
You're not trying to discuss this in an intellectual manner.
So,
to try to arrive at
is
the truth.
your behavior within Colossians 3:12? Yes or no?
No, I know. I already apologized. Why are you trying to?
Is it still within 3:12? Are you exhibiting humility, meekness, and patience? Yes or no?
No, I apologize. No, well, I am exhibiting patience because you're continually refusing to answer the question.
Okay, so is
Why
that
are you
being
trying to-
is that exhibiting humility, meekness, and patience?
I am. Yeah. Yes. I'm being
Going
I'm
going
being
meta
humble,
and
yes.
complaining, or is that just complaining?
No, I'm trying to explain to you that.
Okay.
You're using time words.
Does the Bible say let your yes be yes and your no be no?
What does that have to do with anything?
Because you're not answering my
yes,
questions. So does
Yes
the
be
Bible
yes,
say
no be no? It
Okay.
has to do with this. This got nothing to do
okay,
with
so
this.
let's let your yes be yes and your no be no. So, did you say that
That's got
time was
nothing to do with
created?
this.
Did you say time was created?
Yeah, time is created. Yes.
Okay, so that means there was no time, right?
No, because you're trying to say that there
Time
was some
hasn't always
time when
existed.
There was no time.
Okay,
You're
so
suggesting. Hold on. You're
Time-
suggesting.
time
you're using
hasn't
time
always
words.
existed, right?
Listen, dude. You're using time words to describe the creation of time. That is self-defeating, logically
not self-defeating.
ridiculous.
It's not
Yes,
self-defeating.
it is. If you try to say, "Oh, there was a time before time," that's stupid.
Oh, thank God for the kick bowl. All right, we're at the early kick bowl.
Yeah, you see, you're trying to kick me because you know you already failed.
Nobody's trying to kick you.
Self-defeated yourself. You're trying to talk about a time before time.
Yep.
You're trying to say,
and this is
time,
and see now he goes meta, and now he's complaining because he knows he's gonna get roasted.
No, dude, you roasted yourself. You're trying to say there was a time before time.
Right.
It's just ridiculous.
Right.
Ridiculous,
oh, I'm
dude.
ridiculous now. So okay.
Yes, you are.
Gotcha.
That's not an insult. That's just true.
Gotcha.
You're trying to say there was a time before time. That is ridiculous on its face.
I never said there was a time before time. I don't even believe
You're
that.
saying there was no time and then there was time. Then
I didn't say that. I never said that. I never ever said that. No, I didn't.
Said it multiple times.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Said there was
no, I didn't.
No time and then there was time.
No, I didn't.
That's what you said.
I
You
did
said
not.
It multiple times. You're
Didn't.
lying.
Prove it.
You're lying.
Okay, we're gonna. You know what we're gonna do? You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna play it after you get kicked here. We're gonna play the replay.
Go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead. You absolutely did.
Yeah.
You said there was no time and then there was time.
Yeah.
If
there was no time and then there was time. Oh boy, I can't wait to fucking play the replay. Cannot wait.
You were saying that.
Yeah, I can't wait to play it. Can't wait to play it. And, you know, for somebody who does Toronto Bible study, I think you need to spend more time studying your Bible instead of coming up here, because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Number one, and on top of that, you know you're going to get cooked, and you're intellectually dishonest. Okay,
you're the one who's intellectually dishonest.
No. You are an intellectually dishonest piece of shit. That's what you are. You are a fucking intellectually dishonest piece of shit, because you're sitting here repping the Bible, and you don't. Yeah, you're sitting here repping the Bible.
To discuss the
yeah, you're sitting here repping the Bible. Well, actually, anyway, you got kicked, so fuck you. So you're sitting here repping the Bible. You're sitting here saying you're Toronto Bible study, and you don't act in any way, shape, or form as your Bible says for you to act. So don't talk to me about being intellectually dishonest. All right. You're an intellectually dishonest piece of shit. So let's go back and listen to the recording. At no time did I ever say there was a time before time. At no time. And do you know why I know I didn't say that? Because I don't fucking believe that. You piece of shit liar. Oh, sorry. And this guy lied on top of that. Because he's been on my YouTube queue before. I know his voice. This is like the third or fourth time he's been up. And he's acted this way every other fucking time. So you can just go back through the archives. So I see what he did. He tried to come up here because I kept muting him over on Video Ninja. And so he came on here thinking he could be slick. So I was born at night, not last night. Yeah, it's Toronto Bible study, and he doesn't know him off the top of his head. Yeah. All right. So it's all there. Not once did I say there was a time before time. Not once did I say that. Didn't say that one fucking time. Jesus. Oh boy. All right. We're gonna go to the YouTube queue. We'll bring up Trevor here. All right. I gotta mute myself. Sorry about that. All right. We'll bring up Trevor. But it's just ridiculous. So I just really annoys me when people are intellectually dishonest like that. So this is what's going to happen. Every time that person comes on, we're going to go right back to that time syllogism and we're going to go through it until he acknowledges it. He either disagrees with a premise, one or more premises, and provides evidence against them, or he agrees with the conclusion. That's the only way this is going to go. And we're not going to discuss anything except that. Because that's what you do with intellectually dishonest people. You stay linear and you don't let them pivot. And that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to pivot. So it's not going to happen. All right, let's go to Trevor. How's it going, Trevor? Should be able, I think your connection. Okay, well, let's reconnect your mic. Let's see if that works. Trevor, you there? Okay. I think what you got to do, Trevor, is you got to select a mic when you come into the queue. So come on back in and you got to select like audio and stuff like that. So, all right, we'll move over to the TikTok queue since the YouTube queue is empty. All right, we have Pekanos. How's it going?
Yeah. Hello?
Yep, you're up. Yep. How's it going?
Yeah. How you doing?
Doing well. Just for TikTok purposes, are you at least 18?
Yeah.
Okay. And which God do you believe in?
Muslim.
Muslim. All right. Justice for Aisha. And what's your best evidence that God is real?
So let me ask you a question before you go there. So if I was to address what you just said, it would be wrong, right?
Address what I just said about what?
Justice to Aisha, because you're talking about the proof of God, but then you want to throw that in there.
Yep.
I don't understand why you just took that slight. That's what I'm saying.
Well, because Muhammad, peace be upon him, married a 6-year-old and then consummated with a 9-year-old. You would agree that happened, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can agree that happened. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
So
that
let
happened.
me ask you a question.
All right.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question.
So what you're saying then? So what you're saying
listen,
is.
you brought that up.
So then what you're saying? Hey, I answered your question. So what you're I get to answer. I get to ask you a question.
You answered my question.
I did answer your question.
No. You brought it up. Your
okay.
topic says
We have fucking liars on this live today.
Listen.
Okay. Do we have to go in?
Do we have to go in? Right?
Do we have to go into? Do we have to go in the Quran and see what it says about lying, sir? Do we have to do that?
Listen, those games don't work with me, man. Listen.
We're gonna go into the Quran and we're gonna talk about lying because you just lied on me, and I don't like people who lie on me.
Anything. What did I lie on? What did I lie on?
You said I didn't answer your question.
Tell me what did I lie on?
You said you didn't. You said I didn't answer your question. Did I answer your question? Yes or no?
Let me address.
Did I answer your question? Yes or no?
What did I ask?
Did I answer your question? Yes or no?
What did I ask, man? I'm asking you what did I ask.
You don't know what you fucking asked?
No, I do not. I'm asking you what did I ask, and I'm not too proud to say if I asked it or not.
Okay, that's fair.
If you're right, you're right. So what?
You asked why did I have to say that? That's what you said.
Nah, that's not what I asked. No, that's exactly.
Oh my God!
Now you're lying.
Okay, now we have to
play it back. What I said, exactly what I said was, if I was to address.
Okay,
what
shut
you
your
just
mouth
said,
so we can hear it. Shut up so we can hear it.
What?
You said, I don't understand why you took that slight. You asked me why I asked it.
No, I said.
So
I
don't
understand
fucking
why you
lie
took
on
that
me.
slight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now you're lying on me. Son, you're lying on me.
I didn't
Don't
say that.
don't
I didn't
fucking
say
lie
that.
on me.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that, man. I didn't say that.
You didn't say those exact
I
words, but
didn't
you
say
said,
that.
why
just
did you
played
take
it
that
back.
slight?
You just played it back.
Yep,
man.
I just
You
played it back.
You literally just played it back.
You said you wanted
just
to know
played it
why I
back.
said what I
did not
said.
ask you that. I didn't ask you that. Don't tell
Yeah.
me what I asked you. I said exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Let's get to the topic though. I said, would I be wrong? I said, would I be wrong if I addressed that? That's what I said.
And I said no.
Your whole audience can tell you lying. You know you
I
lying.
said no. It wasn't.
You
I said
know you
no.
lying.
And I
You
said
know you
no.
lying.
And I said no.
So now
Okay,
let me
so
address
now,
it.
all right. So
let me
now we're
address
gonna have to go look at the. We're gonna have to look at
So
the
now let
Quran.
me address it.
No, we're not gonna look at
Now
shit
you-
until
you
we look
play
at the
games. That's
Quran,
what I thought.
and we're gonna
That's
look
what I
at.
thought.
We're
That's
gonna
what
look.
I thought, bro. That's
Okay.
what I thought.
So we're
That's
gonna
what I
look at
thought, man.
behavior in the Quran. We're gonna
Yeah,
look
you
at
know
your
what,
behavior in the
listen,
Quran.
let's look at the arrogance of atheists. Atheism is stupid. Period. Point blank.
Okay. So
dumb.
we're gonna look
Just
at the.
any-
We're gonna look
just
at. Okay,
stupid.
shut the fuck up.
Just
Shut the
stupid.
fuck up.
Stupid, man.
All right.
You stupid. You
Shut the fuck up. All right. We're going to look up what it says in the Quran about behavior. That's what we're going to do. And because it's pretty clear you have either not read the
That's what I
Quran,
thought you was gonna do. That's what I thought you was gonna.
either you have not read the Quran or you have a behavior problem. Which one is it, Pekanos? Now you can unmute because I asked you a question. Do you have a behavior problem or have you not read the Quran? Which one is it? Go ahead, you can unmute now.
Yeah. Hello.
Do you have, so what's the answer to the question?
Say what? What are you talking about?
Okay, you didn't hear my question?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so you have a listening problem too. Okay, so
Okay, if you say so.
the question was, do you have a behavior problem or have you not read
Okay.
the Quran? Which one is it?
Whatever you want to choose.
I'm asking
Now
you.
whatever you. The answer to your question is whatever you
I
want
have-
to choose.
I have
the
a
answer to
feeling
your
it's a little
question. Let's
it's a
get
little
back
bit
to
of
the
both.
topic.
It's a little bit of both.
Okay. It's a little bit of both. Then. Okay, so now let's get back to the topic.
Okay.
See,
All right.
this is what I'm saying. These games, they might work with other people.
Nobody's
but I'm
playing any
telling you to
games.
get back on
So
the
what is
topic.
your best
Let's
evidence?
get back on the topic.
Then what is your best
I
evidence that
asked
God
you-
is real?
The name of your topic is atheism. Prove God is real, but you want to bring up.
Oh, is that what
Prophet
it says?
Muhammad and
Okay, so you
Yes.
can't read either. Is that what you're telling
Well,
me?
whatever. You know what I'm saying.
What does
You
it
know
say
what I'm
above
saying.
my head?
Listen, let me go back to it. It says, I'm an atheist. What's your best evidence that God is real?
Okay.
My thing to you is, why did you have to? If I now I want to address what you said. Now I want to address what you said.
Which one?
Now I want to address what you said about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now I want to
But
address
Muhammad,
that.
police be upon him? What about him?
Yeah, because you said something about Aisha marrying her at 6 years old and consummating the marriage at 9. You said that, right?
Yeah, and you said that's true, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
Okay.
I mean, what was
So-
the point of bringing it up, though?
Okay,
What was
so-
the point of bringing it up?
So what you're saying then is that it's okay for a 50-year-old man to marry a 6-year-old girl?
What I'm telling you is, okay, I apologize. I cut you off. Finish the question.
I said what you're saying is it's okay for a 50-year-old man to marry a 6-year-old girl. Is that what you're
Can I
saying?
answer the question? Can I answer the question?
Yes, you can.
Okay, now, here it is. This is the answer to your question. Everybody would talk about this pedophilia stuff and all that. Name one pedophile. And I know a bunch of them. Name one pedophile. I don't care who, I don't care what age it is.
How does this answer
You
my
married-
question?
Let me finish.
It's a yes or
answering
no
your
question.
Let me answer your question.
It's a yes or no
Let me
question.
answer your question.
All
Let
I
me
need is a
answer
yes
your
or no,
question.
or an I don't know.
Let me answer your question. Let me answer your question. He married her at 6 and waited 3 years. The point of being a pedophile is somebody's that creepy, you're going to do
Oh,
whatever you want
he
to do.
waited
right?
until
You
she
don't
was
wait
9.
3
Okay,
years.
that makes
You don't
everything
wait-
okay
You don't
then.
wait 3 years. So
That
whatever
makes
they
everything
did back
okay.
then,
He waited till she was 9
whatever
years
they
old.
did back then. Listen, my grandfather married my grandfather married my grandmother when she was younger. Way
When she
younger.
was she
And
was she
never-
9?
We never questioned that. We never questioned that.
Maybe you should.
Ever questioned that.
Maybe
And
you
I got
should.
a bunch of, and listen. And I got a bunch of friends in the same predicament. Grandfathers all married younger women. Never questioned that.
Wow.
But listen. Let me, now let's get to that. Now let's get to this. I'm an atheist. What's your best evidence that God is real? You up?
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken, it's my first time on. I pass you almost every day. Every day. And I just want to know, isn't the proof of the burden on you because you're the one asking all this type of stuff?
Nope, it's not.
Oh, okay. Why not?
It is not. Just the
Okay.
same as is the burden of proof that Santa Claus doesn't exist on the person who doesn't believe in Santa Claus? Is the burden of proof on UFOs don't exist the person who doesn't believe in UFOs?
Yeah, I mean, if you up here every day talking about it don't exist, the burden of proof is definitely on you.
Because
Absolutely.
and you want to
Absolutely.
know
And
why?
listen, you
And you
don't
want to
believe in
know
God,
why I
right?
do
Let me ask you
this?
a question. Why you don't believe in God, right? Earlier, and I typed this earlier.
He hasn't
I typed
given
this in
one
the
piece
chat.
of he hasn't answered the
Listen,
question one
earlier,
time.
why
He's
did you
just sitting
say,
up
and I
here
don't curse,
asking
I don't
questions.
curse. I don't curse. Now, I just want to know, why did you say God, D-A-M-N-I-T, if you don't believe in God? Why?
If
Why
I
did you
don't
say
believe
it?
in God, it's a figure of
And you s-
speech.
and
You
you said,
understand? Do you
now
understand
it's
what
a
a
figure of speech.
do you understand what a
Now it's
figure of speech is?
speech. Now it's
Oh,
a
I'll
figure of
easily
speech.
get you. I'll drag you into the figure of speech waters
Now
once
it's a
we go into
figure of
Quran.
speech.
Do you want to
Well,
go into
no,
Quran
now it's
and
a
then
figure
we'll
of
start
speech.
talking figure of speech?
I remember before I was Muslim, right? I remember before I was Muslim. I shouldn't be disclosing my sins or whatever, but this was before I was Muslim. I used to mess around with this chick, just like you ain't never believe in God, never believe in, always talk
Okay.
crazy about
Don't
God.
give a fuck about the story. Yeah, don't give a
But
fuck.
every time she
Bro,
would
don't give
have
a shit
sex,
about the story. Yeah, I don't want to give a shit. I don't give a shit about your past girlfriends or no shit like that. You haven't answered the question yet. And, you know, we got in this whole diatribe about Muhammad, police be upon him, and him being a pedophile, marrying a 6-year-old, and then saying that apparently it's okay that he waited 3 years to have relations with a 9-year-old girl. That's cool. But you haven't once answered the question, what's your best evidence that God is real? You have effectively wasted
and I'm telling you,
9 minutes of time
you
here.
don't, you believe all of this. You believe all of this came from nothing, right?
So,
Who's
what
dumb?
is your best evidence that God is real?
Who's because
Okay,
we're here.
so,
life and death.
because we're
Creator of
here?
Life and death. We're here. Life
Okay.
and death.
Because we're here, how
It's
does
a
that
creator of
demonstrate
life
that
and
God
death.
is real?
Everything is law. Everything is law. Sun comes
Everything
up,
is
sun
law?
goes down, moon comes up. We got see who's creating all of this.
All right, we'll start
Who's
the kick
creating
pull.
all of this?
Ace
Who's
wants
creating
to
all of
use
this?
her coupon.
Who's creating all of this?
Boy, coupons are getting used
Who's creating all of
quickly.
this?
Nobody
Who's
created all
creating
this.
Nobody. Okay, now
So-
see what I'm saying? That's just dumb. So the sun comes up
Oh,
every day.
what
goes
an
down.
intellectual titan. What a great
We
retort.
got seasons. Nobody's creating.
Nobody
all this.
created it? That's dumb.
Nobody-
Oh, what
You
a
just said-
retort.
yeah,
I don't know
it's
how I
dumb.
can
It's-
I don't know how I
it's-
can
it's
return that.
beyond dumb.
I don't know
It's
how I can
beyond dumb.
return that. Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's beyond
so let's
dumb.
let's go back
You
to
got
the
life, you got
okay.
death. Who's creating all of this?
Okay, the person who
Are
thinks
you
it's
stop
okay
yourself from
to
dying?
have
Stop
relations
your-
with a
you-
9-year-old is
you-
telling
you
me
and
that
your
it's
son-
dumb.
You and your
This is what
scientists,
we're
you
talking
believe-
about.
you
The
believe
person
in all
that's
these
telling me
scientists.
that it's
Stop yourself
okay
from death.
to have
Stop
for
yourself
his
from dying.
prophet
Stop
Muhammad,
yourself from
police
dying.
be upon him,
Stop
to have
yourself from
relations with. Okay, that's not the own that you think
Stop
it is.
yourself from
So,
dying. You
all
and
right.
your scientists, all the stuff you believe in, stop yourself
So-
from dying. Stop
so,
it.
Question PDFanos. So PDFanos.
That's what I thought.
PDFanos.
That's what I thought.
That's what I thought.
Arrogance
That's
is
what I
dumb.
thought. Okay,
Arrogance is dumb.
PDFanos.
Atheists
Let me
are
ask you a
dumb.
question.
Atheists are
So
dumb, bro.
did
It's the dumbest thing ever.
okay? Did Muhammad? I'm sorry, not Muhammad. Police be upon him. Sorry. Did Allah? Oh wait, are you driving?
Yo, my man, get to the point, bro. I gotta
Are you
pray. It's
are
actually-
you driving?
Are you riding? Like what it got to do with
Because it's against TikTok terms of service, dumbass. You can't drive and live. Oh my God. We got some intellectual. I mean, if this is God sending his best, this is just wow. This is God sending his best. Wow. I mean, there's all kinds of things wrong with that. This is God sending their best. Okay. All right, let's try to bring Trevor back from the YouTube queue. All right. Let's see if all right, Trevor. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Okay. I think there's something up with your audio because when you go to the link, it asks you to select an audio device, and I don't think you're doing that. So because I'm not seeing anything from you, and I don't see anything that says you have an audio device selected. Yeah. Let's try and refresh it. Well, it says analog Focusrite USB audio, but it's not. Doesn't look like it's. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's taking it. So, all right. Well, you're gonna have to work out your audio issues. So, try it again. All right. Let's go to the next one. Boy, happy Monday. I'm getting a lot of clippable content, that's for sure. How's it going, Jimmy? Jimmy Fontaine.
Oh, sorry, man. I must have hit the button by accident. My bad.
Hey, no worries.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. All right.
Take care.
Thanks for waiting. Okay. All right. For TikTok purposes, are you at least 18?
No, I sorry. I hit the button by accident.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't mean to request up. Okay.
No, I didn't mean to.
Oh, yeah. No worries. Okay, no worries. Hey, have a good one.
You do the same.
All right. Next one. Top floor. How's it going? Hello? Okay, looks like another accidental button pusher. All right. So that's everybody in the queue. All right. Let's try Scarlett this time. All right, let's try to bring Scarlett up. We have Scarlett in the YouTube queue, so let's try and bring Scarlett up. Give me a second, Scarlett, while I get you situated and in. And then I'll unmute you and all that good stuff. So give me 1 second. We're almost there. Okay. Thanks for waiting, Scarlett. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Are you at least 18?
No.
Okay. You gotta be at least 18. So, but thanks for requesting up. Appreciate you.
All right. Later.
All right. So, see, it's probably Scarlett was old enough on YouTube's terms of service, but not TikTok. So we have to follow TikTok terms of service. So sorry about that. Nothing personal, but when we're doing it on multiple platforms, I got to make sure that everybody's of age. So, all right. So the guest queues are open, and all right. So we're just waiting for another guest to come up. So if you have any evidence that your God is real, if you are a believer in the God of the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, and you're at least 18, please request up. And also, yes, Pokugurumi, that's a great question. Join the Discord. Yeah. So anybody who is unable to talk, but you have to be at least 18 to join the Discord as well. So that's the other part of it. So unfortunately, for those not 18 or over, not much of a mechanism. So we want to be above board in all ways, not even the appearance of impropriety. So please request up if you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, the Quran, and you have evidence that God is real. And also you have to be at least 18. Atheism is dumb because I don't understand it. Well, crazy argument. Yeah. Atheism is dumb, man. Yeah. That was just, I don't know how I could recover from that. He just cooked me right there. Just cooked me. I don't know how I could recover. So I don't know what to do about that, Mike. Like, what do you say to that? Atheism is dumb. What do you say? Like, I guess I'm cooked. All right. I guess I'm done. I guess you're right. I guess I'll be a believer now because atheism is dumb. And I have no response to that. I mean, unless you just go, nuh-uh. Sir Lord Sean, right above you is a link. So if you are on the YouTube side, there is a link that Rainbow Ash provided in the chat. Just click the link and you'll get in. See, Blitz had a dude on today that was arguing that 0.5 and 50% were different values. Oh my God. Yeah. As Ian said, these intellectual titans. And you know what? Look at, I'm not the smartest guy, all right? And I'm not like, but come on, 0.5 and 50%. And then, the eternal time thing, God, the creation of time is evidence that time is of something that happened before. Oh my God. It's just, somebody honestly argued that. Yeah. With the 0.5 and 50%. Yes. Somebody argued that in Blitz's live. Apparently I didn't listen this morning, but that's just, wow. I'm not the smartest either, but these people don't even make an effort to learn anything. Yeah. I mean, it's just, all right. So we got somebody in the TikTok queue. So let's bring him up. So again, you have to be at least 18, believer in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran, and evidence that God is real. So let's bring up Ehin. I think that's how you
Hello,
say
sir.
it.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, man.
All right. Are you at least 18?
I am. I'm 21.
All right. And which God do you believe in?
The Orthodox Trinitarian God.
Okay. All right. What's your best evidence that this God is real? Oh, must be Philbro Monday. All right. Let's go.
It's all good. Right. So I am going to look at it in terms of theism versus atheism. And one particular way I would prove it is by proving that the atheist system is impossible and is incoherent.
It's impossible and incoherent?
Yep.
Okay.
So let's say I did that. Would you admit that by the impossibility of the contrary, or proving that not X leads to a contradiction, that must mean X is true? Would
that
you
means
agree?
atheism. Yeah. If you can prove that atheism is contradictory, then that would mean it's not true.
Okay, perfect. That's good. So
And that
my
would mean
particular
a
point,
God exists, right?
true, right? Because it's going to be hard to get all the way from
A God
atheism to my specific one.
Right.
But we can start with atheism. That might be all we have time for today. But so my problem that I'm bringing to you is called the problem of induction. So have you heard of that before?
Yep.
Okay, so what is the atheist account for solving that philosophical problem?
The problem of induction. Well, why don't you go over it so that the chat understands what you're talking about, and also
Yeah, for
please
sure.
use like 6th grade level words, because Phil Bros like to use all these big words and people get bored
Yep.
and they leave my lives. So
No, that's good practice.
yeah.
Okay, so
easy to understand terms, please.
100%. So if we're doing science, if we're going to do science, we're going to make observations out in the world, and we're going to make fact claims. We're going to go do science. We're going to go try to make knowledge claims based off things we observe. One thing that we're relying on every time we do that is the idea that the universe and all of its laws, all of its rules are consistent. They don't change. Because if we, observed, I don't know, 2 balls dropping by gravity, we observe something that gravity does over here, and then we use that to make a truth claim. In the future, gravity works different, then that truth doesn't carry over, because now gravity runs by different rules.
Yep.
So we need some reason to do science at all. We have to rely on the idea that the universe is consistent. That's necessary. So then the question is, do we actually have any good reason to think that the universe is consistent?
Okay.
We need it. It's necessary to do science, but do we actually have any good reason or account for why the universe would be consistent? So I'll give you an example. As a Christian, our account for why the universe is consistent is that God, who is eternal outside of creation, he presides over creation. He is providentially watching it and protecting it, making sure that it's consistent. So that's our case, but I'm asking, does the atheist have any case for why the universe would be consistent? And if not, then they don't really have a good reason to do science, because science needs a consistent universe to do science.
So now, are you saying that the atheists don't have a reason to justify that the universe is consistent?
I would say they do. I mean, there might be some Neoplatonists. I don't know if you are a Neoplatonist who could come up with something, but the reason most atheists can't prove the principle of induction is because if you're using science, if you're using observations, you're not going to be able to use a tool like a microscope or just observe things to prove universal things about the universe. There would be no way to acquire that piece of knowledge if you're just limited to your five senses.
Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah, I'm ready to address it. How do you want me to defeat it? Category error, non sequitur, or self defeat?
You choose.
No, pick one. I don't care. Either they all do. They all defeat it.
Let's do non sequitur.
Non sequitur. Okay. So now are you saying then that God guarantees, like God fixes induction, basically? That the presence of a God is a guarantor, right?
I'll be specific. He's the guarantor, and he's the account for, in our system, why there would be something like the principle of induction.
So how did you so you got to make some assumptions, right? If God is the guarantor, right? You got to make some assumptions, right? God exists, right?
Yep.
God is consistent.
Yep.
Okay. God intends to preserve consistency and uniformity, right?
Yes. Yep.
And God will continue doing so tomorrow.
Yep.
Okay. How did you arrive at any of these four assumptions without using induction?
You will have to use induction.
Exactly. So basically what you're saying is you're using induction to demonstrate that God has these properties as these assumptions as the guarantor, but you're saying, but there's a problem of induction. So
yes, okay,
that's a non sequitur. Yeah, that's a non sequitur.
Okay. Well, let me explain, right? Because it's unavoidable. I will agree that whether you're a Christian, whether you're just a naturalist, a scientist guy, it's unavoidable to use it. So we have to presuppose it every time we use it. Like I have to assume the universe is regular, to read the Bible and infer things from the Bible about God, for example. So using it is totally valid, but we still have to give an account in our worldview how we're justified in using it. So you and I both use it, but the difference is I actually have a reason for why I can use it.
You have a reason for why you can use it, and that's because to demonstrate that God exists.
Well, it's based on God's nature.
Okay, but then that becomes circular, right?
And yes, so on a worldview level, yes, it's circular, but it's not viciously circular.
It's not viciously circular. So let's go over it. So, to determine that God is the guarantor of our existence, you have to make assumptions, right? And to make these assumptions, you have to use induction to solve the problem of induction. And that's not viciously circular.
Well, no, because we are using it, but we also give an account for why we can use it later.
Okay. Is this going to charge my phone?
It's not viciously circular. Have you heard of Agrippa's trilemma?
My question is this going to charge my phone?
No.
It's not going to charge my phone, right? So then it is viciously circular.
No, it is not.
Okay. Well, you just saying nuh-uh doesn't mean that. It's because you're saying induction is a problem. God is a guarantor to solve the induction problem, but to use you have to make, in order to make assumptions about God's properties, who solves the problem, I have to use induction.
Right. So yes, it's used. No, there's a difference between using a tool and it being like a circular premise in an argument. So everyone has to use it. It's unavoidable.
Okay. So why does it make yours better than when anybody else uses it? Because you're just saying, well, we use it, but it's fine. But when you use it, it's wrong.
Right.
That's essentially what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, we all have to presuppose it. We can't avoid using our five senses and observing reality. The difference is my worldview explains why I have justification to do that.
Okay. What presuppositions are atheists making?
That the universe is consistent.
The universe is consistent?
There's no justification for. Yeah.
And how so?
Because to make any knowledge claim, you're going to have to observe things out in reality, pick up evidences, do science. All of these knowledge exercises require induction.
Okay. Yeah. So we use like observation, right? And we're using induction. Yeah. And
Yeah.
but you're saying, but beyond that, we're just using induction and just saying, well, we observe that the universe is consistent, therefore it's consistent. Is that what you're saying?
No, you can't observe that it's consistent.
You can't observe that it's consistent? How so?
No. Because you can only observe particular things. You can observe something today, you can observe something tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
You can't then take the little things that you observe at one point in time and then say it's universally going to be consistent. Now, you can't observe a universal, right? You can't observe all time and say the universe is going to be consistent for all time.
Does sunrise and sunset happen every day?
Yep.
That's consistent, right? And how do we know that?
Well, you would know that because you have the principle of induction. You can say we take inferences, individual things, and we can infer a general rule.
Yeah,
right?
we observe it, right? So like if we kind of go back to, we observe the sun coming up every day and going down every day, right?
Well, you don't observe the rule. You use the rule to make truth claims like the sun rises and falls every day.
Yeah.
So you don't observe the rule. You use the rule to observe things.
No, I didn't say we observe the rule. I said we observe the sun coming up and going down every day. That's how we know it's sun rises and sun sets every day, right?
But to do that, you're using induction, and I'm asking how you actually observe and prove induction itself, not use it on things like the sun.
I don't know if it matters to use and observe or to prove induction. Why do I need to prove induction?
Because when, like the sun example you gave, you looked at the sun today, you looked at the sun yesterday, and then you made a leap in logic, and you said, okay, these particular things now prove or give evidence or knowledge that the sun rises and falls every day. And I'm saying that jump is only possible because of induction, but you don't actually have a good reason to believe that induction is the case.
Okay, that induction is the case, but I'm saying why does it matter? Because we know for a lot more reasons why the sun rises and sets every day, right? I mean, we have a lot more. We have many more reasons why.
Let me put it this way: do you, as an atheist, is there anything stopping the rules of the universe from just radically changing? Could the sun become purple tomorrow? Is that impossible?
Yes, according to the laws of physics.
What if those? Well, I'm saying, what if those change? Is there a reason those couldn't change?
I don't see why they would change, but according to the way our universe operates, they won't change.
How do you know they won't change?
The reason why is because the laws of physics are descriptive, and they could change. I guess it's possible. I mean, this is more of a question for a physicist. I'm not a physicist, but I would just say they could change.
Okay.
Yeah, they could.
Do you have any good reason to think they won't change?
Do I have any reason to think they won't change? Reason being is because they have things called like constants, right? And constants implies that they'll never change. We have, mathematical equations that, like, for example, with quantum mechanics, this is something that has happened time and time and time again. We've proven it like hundreds of thousands of times, if not millions of times. We're using quantum mechanics you and I to have this discussion right now. It's an equation that, that works, and it's worked every time. Could it change? Possibly. But I have no reason to think it would. So I guess you would need to give me a reason why it would.
Well, not really. But I guess
that means but that would mean I would have to tell the future, and I'm not a fortune teller. So,
right. So,
then what I'm trying to understand is if you're saying, well, you can't predict things, so therefore atheism is false.
Yeah, because it can't make knowledge claims. It can't say something is true across time. Because you said you're not a fortune teller.
Actually, yes, you can with quantum mechanics. Yes, you can.
Okay.
Because what you can do is you can calculate the superposition of a particle at any point in time, past, present, or future. So you can do that with quantum mechanics. So that kind of just destroys it right there.
Okay, but the rules of quantum mechanics could change. We don't have any reason to think they won't. They might not.
Yeah.
And if
could,
that's the case,
or they could not, right? They could or they could not.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't know.
Okay.
And that's kind of my point. Is ultimately we arrive at, for the atheist, we don't know. So when they say things like,
so why is that a problem though?
Because when you make
Because that
truth claims,
doesn't disprove atheism at all. Because what's the definition of atheism?
a worldview that doesn't believe in God.
No, it's not a worldview. It's just a belief, a lack of belief.
Okay.
So it's just person who does not believe in the existence of any gods. Would you say disbelieving in Santa Claus is a worldview?
I mean, it could be part of one,
But
no,
it's
I
not
wouldn't say
a
that's
world. But it's
worldview.
not a worldview in itself. And that's the same thing with atheism, right? It's not a worldview. Not believing in Bigfoot, is that a worldview?
Yeah, I'll admit it's not
Okay.
all of a worldview.
Yeah,
but,
it's just a belief or a lack of. It's a belief
well, I think
statement,
it's a pretty important one. I think it's pretty foundational.
which is fine, but it's not a worldview. That's the difference. So, see, the problem is that the worldviews that you're talking about, you're getting into like relativism, realism, idealism, fallibilism, materialism, physicalism, Platonism. All these worldviews, right? So it's not. So really, your fight is against worldviews, not atheism. And so then you're going to have to disprove.
That's true.
Yeah, and now you're going to have to disprove every worldview out there. You realize the burden
Well,
of proof that you
not
have.
Not quite.
Yeah,
because
quite.
With,
Quite.
Well, no, because
because
there's a limited amount.
Unless you're
of,
telling me that Platonism and materialism are the exact same thing, and you can just debunk them in one fell swoop. You can't do that.
Well, you kind of can, because in the sense that there's similarities between worldviews. If you have a worldview where there's no metaphysical, you're a materialist, then even if there's other worldviews, like there's a multiplicity of worldviews, they all follow the same structure. And so if I can disprove the overall structure, I can disprove any of the particulars.
Okay.
So
So
that's why I was kind of
if you
saying,
can disprove the structure, assuming that everybody uses the same structure, and that's the other assumption you're making. But now you're telling me that every worldview uses the exact same structure?
well, in the sense of like the atheists, the naturalists, the empiricists, yeah, they do.
Okay.
They share
What
a
about
commonality.
okay, so what about God believing idealists?
Yeah, and that's where I said at the very beginning, there might be Neoplatonists, and this argument isn't going to disprove them. It's only going to get us to rejecting naturalism and materialism.
Yeah, but I'm not a naturalist nor a materialist. I'm a fallibilist.
What is that? I've actually not heard that.
A fallibilist is someone who derives truth from things that have evidence. So when you're asking me, well, could quantum mechanics change tomorrow? Yeah, it could, because we might find new evidence, and it could be and quantum mechanics could be totally wrong, because we could find whole new information tomorrow. Same with evolution, same with, physics, same with a lot of things, same with medicine, same with geology. I mean, but that's true for anything, right?
Right. Well, my critique, if you're using an evidence-based epistemology, I would say that I'm calling into question whether your evidence works, because you might observe particles doing some things yesterday, and I'm saying, well, how do we know that's going to carry over into tomorrow in the future? And I'm saying you don't. So it's an isolated observation that's only true then.
Right.
And so that kind of hurts. the
Okay.
ability to-
So point out to me an instance in which, we'll just use your example, that a particle that behaved one way, one day, or, a successive number of times, and the calculations all pointed to that this particle will behave exactly the same way that it suddenly changed.
What's the question?
Well,
sir?
it's your assertion. I'm asking you, when has this ever happened?
Oh, like evidence of it happening before, like the rules changing before?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure that they have, but that doesn't.
Okay.
What would that prove? What would that do?
Well, I'm just saying, you're saying that this could happen, but we base that on evidence, right? And so if we have no evidence that it would happen, why would we think it would happen?
Well, that's exactly the thing I'm calling into question. Just because
Okay.
something happened a certain way, the rules didn't change before,
Right.
doesn't give you any proof that they're not going to
Okay.
change in the future.
So then
That's
that
the whole
means that tomorrow there could be monsters in your closet, right?
thing. yeah, exactly.
There could be, right? And so do you
be,
lay traps every day in just in case there are monsters in your closet? I mean,
Maybe if we're consistent, we should, right?
right, but I'm asking you, do you?
I don't know. Well, I'm not an atheist, so
You're not an atheist, but you just admitted that there could be monsters in your closet.
well, I'm just saying, like, if we're atheists.
Well, I mean, if you're
walking
consistent,
this all the way down.
I know, but if you're it's not about if you're an atheist. I'm saying if you're consistent, are you saying there never will be monsters in your closet?
Well, I mean, yeah, sure.
Okay,
As
and
an
how do you
atheist, yeah.
how do you demonstrate that?
How to demonstrate that
There will
won't be,
never
or will
ever
we?
there will never ever be monsters in your closet, because
Oh,
that's what you're
yeah, you
essentially
can't.
saying.
Yeah,
Well,
you
you
can't.
okay?
There's no
So
way.
so you have the same problem in your worldview then. You can't
No, I'm
demonstrate that there
speaking-
will
I'm
never
speaking
ever.
as an atheist.
Yeah, but I'm
you're-
speaking.
Are you asking
well,
me as a Christian?
Yeah, I'm asking you as an Orthodox Christian.
Okay.
Can you demonstrate
bad.
that there will never ever be monsters in your closet?
Right. So there's we believe in the principle of induction because we believe that God
Right,
is
which I already
governing the
killed,
planet.
yeah.
He's not going to let random things like monsters just pop into existence.
Okay, and we use the
yeah.
use the process. We use induction to arrive at the same conclusion, but for different reasons. I mean,
but I'm saying,
but you're
you can't
saying,
use
but my way is
induction.
right because I believe in God. That's all you're saying.
No,
I mean,
I'm
that's
saying I have a
it.
reason. No, no.
Yeah, your reason is you believe in God. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Well,
okay,
if God was true, then wouldn't that? Wouldn't
okay,
that work?
but then it gets back to then it gets all the way back to my original question. Then what's your evidence that God is true? I mean, we're all the way
Well-
back to that because you started this by saying I'm going to prove that atheism is incoherent, right? Or contradictory. There we go. I'm going to prove that atheism is contradictory, but we already established that you're using the same induction that we're using. The only difference is, but I'm using it for God, so therefore I'm right.
Well,
I
I
mean-
at least have an account where it comes from. Like my worldview, my story makes sense. You have a
Okay.
God. He
Well, I have an
governs the
account too.
universe, He keeps it consistent.
Yeah, I have
Your
an account.
story,
Well, no, that's not true. I have an account, but see, this has to do with my worldview as an objective moral realist, and so
what is your
that's-
account? I mean, I haven't.
my
heard
account
of
is
it.
the laws of logic and the laws of physics, and that's
Okay,
how I know
how
the
do you
world
they're
is
gonna be
consistent.
right? That's
Well, we don't because
You
again, I'm a
can't.
fallibilist. But see, you can't demonstrate that it will be either. So you
can,
have the same
yeah.
exact problem. You're only asserting it. You're only saying because I believe my God exists, then everything will remain consistent according to what God's laws are. Well, then you still have to demonstrate that your God exists. You've just basically made an assertion that has no basis in fact.
Well, let me compare. So let me break it down this way. With my worldview, I can tie everything together in a coherent story. I guess if you want to call it, it's not really a story, but that's
So
maybe
can
a good
I.
way to think about it.
So can I.
But you can't because
Yes, I can.
You make,
I just
you,
did.
You do science, you make knowledge claims, but you have no justification for the induction.
All
that's
right.
needed to do that.
Let's just imagine. Okay, let's just say you're right. All right. Let's just say I have no grounding and I have no coherence for my worldview. Let's just grant that. Okay. So then now we can get to testing to see if your worldview is coherent, right?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So now is God the foundation of logic and morality?
Yes.
Okay. Which one do you want to go with? Do you want to go with logic or morality?
Let's do morality.
Morality? Oh, okay. All right. So then when you say God is does God ground morality, or is morality, or how do you describe
We
that?
would say it's grounded in God's nature.
Grounded in God's nature. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what is God's nature?
Omnibenevolent, all-knowing, omniscient, all-powerful.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, all right, I'll keep it light, everybody, because I don't want to do an early kick pull today. But, okay. Is all suffering necessary?
Ooh, is suffering? No, it isn't.
All suffering.
No, it's no. We would say it isn't. No.
Okay, so
is not
some
necessary.
suffering isn't necessary. What's an example of necessary suffering, and then what's an example of unnecessary suffering?
I think we would say that that no suffering is necessary. The fall didn't need to happen.
So none
it
of
didn't
it's
need to be
necessary.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so under an omnibenevolent God, what is the moral principle for this God to allow unnecessary suffering? And you would agree this God has the power to stop it, right? If he wanted to eliminate suffering tomorrow, he could do it, or just in a minute, right? Okay. So what's the moral principle that justifies God allowing necessary suffering when he can prevent it?
Right. So this, I think generally this has to do with, I'm not saying you, but a lot of people have a naive understanding of what right and wrong really is. We would say that people suffering is not inherently right or wrong. It doesn't carry a moral weight to it. It's merely a product of the fallen world. I mean, if I toil in the field, if a hurricane comes and causes suffering, no one says that the hurricane's evil, right? So we would just say there's a non sequitur thing there.
Is a hurricane a product of the fall of man?
Yeah.
It is. So there were no hurricanes before that.
Probably not. Yeah.
Probably not. Well, you don't sound too sure.
I'll say yes. Yeah.
Okay, there were none. All right. So can God? But God controls the hurricanes, right? God, because we don't control the hurricanes. We don't cause hurricanes. First, there were no hurricanes. Then there were hurricanes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is all part of God's world.
Yes.
Okay. So if hurricanes are part of God's world, God created hurricanes, then how is God not responsible for hurricanes?
Right. Okay. So there's a distinction here, which is that when evil things or when fallen, corrupt things happen in the world, like suffering, death, these are not things that God created. These are their existence is understood to be a deprivation. So God has a natural order where there's no hurricanes and the sun shines every day. And then through Adam's sin, we experience all these things, but they don't have an existence where God created them. God did not create evil. He did not create the fallen state of the world. He created the original world and it was perfect.
Yeah.
And then it became corrupted.
Okay. It became corrupted because of what we did. Right. And okay. And so, and animals suffer in that, right?
Yeah.
Are animals moral agents?
I don't think, no,
they're not, right? They don't go to heaven. Yeah. They don't have souls. They don't go to heaven. So you would agree then that animals suffer unnecessarily in hurricanes, right? They die in hurricanes. They drown in hurricanes. Their homes are washed away. Yeah. And so what you're saying then,
I just want to clarify something though, before you go on. It's just a little, it's not going to do much, but I was just saying we do have an obligation. Animals themselves might not have souls or moral agency, but we do have an obligation to treat those animals respectfully and not be unnecessarily cruel.
I agree, 100%. We have a moral obligation to do that, right? Does God have a moral obligation to do that?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
He does? Okay. So what you're saying then is that it's morally okay for animals to drown and suffer, lose their homes in hurricanes because of because we fell. And that's our. I
wouldn't say it's good. I definitely wouldn't say it's good. Like it's unfortunate when
God allows it, right?
Suffer, but I wouldn't say that's like somebody's fault. If animals
God allows it, right?
Yeah.
And does everything God do is good?
Yes.
Okay, so allowing animals to suffer and drown in hurricanes is good.
I mean, in a way, yes. I mean, giving us free will is good. Like it was good that God gave us the choice to make.
All right.
Bad decisions.
But free will doesn't cover the suffering of animals. That's my whole point. Unless we're the ones directly making the animals suffer.
But wait, okay, yeah, let me explain. I see now.
Yeah.
In a roundabout way, it is our fault because through Adam's sin and through humanity's sin, we kind of created the hurricane that's running around terrorizing animals.
Okay. So then it's morally, so what you're saying then, because this is a consequence, or it's really a punishment on us, because we created this fallen world, right? And so are you saying then that innocents should bear the consequences of the guilty?
It's not that they should. It's not that they're being divinely punished. But
well, they're bearing the consequences of the guilty, right? We're the guilty. You would agree we're the guilty, right?
Yeah.
And animals didn't cause the fall, right?
Yeah.
They didn't eat the fruit. They didn't talk to the snake. They didn't do any of that. So they're innocents in this. So it's morally good for innocents to bear the consequences of the guilty.
Well, I would say the fall is a tragic thing. It's not good, but I would say maybe agreeing with you in a sense, like in an ultimate sense, it is good that humans are able to choose freely, and
Yeah.
it's not good when they choose bad things with that
Okay.
free will and
How
hurt animals and
uh-huh.
yeah.
How would humans free will be effective if animals didn't bear the consequences of hurricanes and tornadoes, earthquakes, fires? Like if they just were just immune to that, because God could have made it that way, right?
I suppose, yeah.
Okay, so how would that affect our free will?
How would that, like, I guess he could have. I don't know. It might. I
Yeah,
don't
how
have an
would it?
answer. I don't know. I mean,
Okay,
that
so
might
you don't
be a
have
mystery.
Yeah, it might be a mystery. Well, now we're appealing to, it's an appeal to ignorance now?
Well, you're saying like it ultimately comes down to why did God give people free will to
No,
hurt animals?
that's not what I
and
asked.
themselves?
I'm focused on the suffering of the animals. And what you're essentially telling me is that it's morally, because if everything God does is good, it is morally right or morally righteous to allow innocent animals to suffer for the consequences of us falling.
Well, I would say that the moral responsibility is on humans because they're the ones who brought death into the world. So
Right.
it's not God. So
Okay.
God is not hurting the animals, right? But he gave
God-
humans the free will.
He's
to do that.
allowing the animals to be hurt because, again, you agreed that animals could be immune from hurricanes, tornadoes, fires, all that stuff. They don't have to be harmed by this. Only us, because we're the ones that caused the fall. So
yeah, let's simplify and make it more direct. Let's just say that God gives man the free will to kill and stab animals directly.
Well,
I wouldn't say that's good.
He has, though. We can do that if we want,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So he has
Yeah,
given us
so-
that. But
So I would say
but
it's
we're kind of
good that
pivoting here.
God- Okay.
We're pivoting here because my focus is on like natural disasters, and you agree they harm animals just as much as humans. But animals had nothing to do with the fall, which means you're saying it is morally good that innocents suffer for the consequences of the bad.
I'm
of
not
bad
saying
doers.
that it's not really, no.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
saying,
you
like-
are. You are.
Well,
because
can I use a more simple analogy? I'm saying it's good that we have free will, or it's God's choice. It might not even be good. It might just be what is. Like God gave us free will, and then it's not good when humans do something evil and cause hurricanes and or stab animals directly. Those things aren't good. But those are the responsibility of humans. That's their fault. That's not God's
and we're
condoning that.
Okay, but that's not what I'm talking about. So you're trying to get away from the whole natural disaster. I'm staying very linear on natural disasters. And you've already conceded you don't have an explanation for this. You have no explanation for why animals have to suffer along with humans if humans are the ones that caused these natural disasters in your mind. I mean, you're essentially saying we caused these natural disasters. There were no natural disasters until Eve ate of the fruit. Adam and Eve ate of the fruit. That's what you're essentially saying.
Yeah,
So
I would admit ultimately, like I don't think it was necessary that animals endured the consequences of the fall. I don't think
Okay.
that was God could have done something against that, but
All
that
right.
just seems to be how it played out.
I mean, we can do a quick syllogism, but I mean, the conclusion then has to be that therefore God allowing the suffering of animals is good.
God allowing, I guess I would disagree. I don't know if God giving humanity free will is good or evil.
Okay. So, but again, you agree. So we're kind of going in circles here, but you agree. I might have to type this out in the syllogism. So,
Okay.
because we're kind of losing this, but I'll try it one more time. You agree that God could make animals immune from natural disasters. You agree with that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, wholesale. Yeah, God
He
could
could.
have done
He's-
things a different way.
He's omnipotent, so he could prevent animals from experiencing any type of damage from natural disasters.
Yeah.
Okay. Yet they do. And it's because of the fall that we have natural disasters. So that
Yes.
means God's allowing animals to suffer through natural disasters. God
Yeah.
is allowing it. So therefore
Sure.
it's good. And if everything God
Mhm.
does is good, therefore it's good for animals, for God to allow animals to suffer.
Okay, I would say that God giving human beings free will, maybe that's good. But then when the human
Yeah,
beings
we're not
go,
talking about free will,
because
my
wait,
guy.
here's the thing. Human beings are
You
responsible.
keep trying to drag free will into this, and this has nothing to do with free will.
Well, it does because
it has absolutely
who's
nothing to do with
we
it.
have to analyze here. I figured it out. So we have to analyze who.
I think you got a call. Hopefully, okay,
Oh,
there we
sorry
go.
about that. I would say that we have to look at who's responsible for the tornado. It's ultimately the
Okay.
human's responsibility, because when God gives humans free will and then they go do stupid things like
Mhm.
eat fruit and let tornadoes kill sheep,
Yeah.
that the responsibility transfers to them. So then
Yeah.
now humans are the ones responsible for
Okay.
the fallenness and suffering.
Perfect. So the responsibility transfers to them. Okay. So, let's just say that a person, okay, it's a school unaliver. All right. Horrible thing happens, right? School unaliver, and he goes in and, unalives a whole bunch of kids, but some of the kids are injured. All right. And they go in, they get rushed to the hospital for surgery. And the doctor says, well, it's the fault of the school unaliver. So we're just not going to operate on them. Is that the morally right thing to do?
Like, no, because
Okay. So, because that's essentially what God does with animals. Because you're saying that it's our fault that all these natural disasters happen because of the fall, and God allowing animals to suffer is our fault, not his, because he's allowing it to happen. But in the same vein, the surgeon is allowing these children to suffer because it's not his fault that they're suffering. It's the school unaliver's fault. So the doctor decides not to operate on the kids to save their lives. So that's morally good.
Well, wait. So here's my refutation would be that the responsibilities that we have, well, no, listen, right? The responsibility that a surgeon has, I mean, we do have things called bystander laws. You're not, as a random citizen, you're actually not obligated to go help some guy struggling in an ice lake. Like, you don't have to risk your life.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that's why I specifically said a doctor, because you're right. Hippocratic
So
laws,
my point-
Hippocratic oaths and laws actually require them to step in.
True.
Yeah.
So I'm
It requires them.
saying
They're
that
morally
doctors-
obligated because they have because you would
Yes.
agree they have the power to try to save these children, right? More than anyone else, like you
100%,
and me, right? Like I couldn't save these children, right? I can't operate
Right.
on them. The doctor could, the surgeon could. So that means that's why they are morally and legally obligated to do that. So it kind of goes back to my question all the way back like 20 minutes ago, and then I got to start the kick poll. So thanks for your patience, chat. What moral principle justifies God allowing the suffering of animals when he can prevent it?
Right, because he is not obligated to intervene and prevent suffering the same way that a surgeon is, because, well, the surgeon
what's the
is
moral
commanded
principle?
by God.
Well, what's the
Well, he's
moral
just not
principle?
obligated.
It's not. Well, no, there should be a
The
principle.
burden
Like,
of proof would be on you to assert that he has to intervene.
well, there's a principle in that there's moral principles, right? There's like do unto others as you would have them do unto you. There's keep your promises. We assert all of these things through moral principles. So that's why we have like the Hippocratic oath for surgeons. But see the thing, as an objective moral realist, all of these, for me, I'm an objective moral realist. These all happen consistency regardless of who it is, of who the being is. That includes God. So otherwise, you can't call this God moral. This God is not a moral God.
Yeah.
Because
What I
if
would
he's
try to
exempt,
introduce-
if he's exempt and if he's the grounding of all morality, then that means either it's okay to allow children, for a surgeon to allow children to suffer because it's not especially when it's not the fault of the surgeon, or the surgeon is required. So, you can't have it both ways. So if God is the grounding of morality, that means, and you want an exemption from that, then you can't call this God moral.
Well, this is a common thing I see atheists do a lot. They look at some rule that God gives to humans and they say, well, why doesn't God obey that rule? This would obviously not make sense if we look at something like praying in the temple. God commands people to pray in the temple on the Sabbath.
That's
Does
not
that
what we're
mean
talking
God-
about. We're
No, but
talking
it
about
proves
we're
my- it
talking about
proves my
suffering.
point. No, but it proves my point that what morality is for humans.
Well,
and for their
praying in a
circumstance.
temple is not a moral act. That it's just
It
an
is
act.
100%.
Well,
Yeah,
not
God
to me.
commands you to.
Not to me. It's not a moral act.
Well,
but
I'm just saying in the system, in my system, you're doing
Yeah.
an internal critique of
so
my system.
okay. Well, if we do an internal critique in your system, then that means God would be required to pray in the temple because.
But he's obviously not, because he's not a human.
Well, then
He's
then
not. He's not a
then
guy
you
walking
can't call this.
around
Well, then
finding
you
the
can't
temple.
call this God moral because now you're doing special pleading and you're wanting it both ways. All right. So they did vote to move on, but hey, I appreciate the
Okay.
talk. All right.
Yeah. No, thank you, man.
Yep. Have a good one. Yeah, I mean, if you guys went and watched all my videos, I don't know how many videos on this, right? How many times did I ask and how many times did he not answer? How many times did I ask what moral principle justifies your God allowing preventable suffering when he can act on it? And notice how none of them can answer the question. So it was a close vote on the YTube side, but it was a blowout on the TikTok side. So that's the problem. What moral principle? And you can't name the moral principle. But what he does is he resorts to special pleading to say, well, he's not required because that would be absurd because he's not required to pray in the temple. Well, if that's a moral act, yes, he is. He's required to pray in the temple just like everybody else. So just because all you're saying is because he's not human. Well, that's special pleading. That's what that is. It's straight up special pleading. And that's a fallacy. So I think he failed. Did not prove atheism as false because he uses the exact same rule to justify his worldview. I mean, and atheism is a worldview. So it's a category error. There's just all kinds of things wrong with the problem of induction. All kinds of things wrong. So, all right. The guest queues are open. So if you believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, and if you're at least 18 and you have evidence that God is real, please request up and we can talk about it. But that was still a good conversation. I appreciate that. So, it was very respectful. So I appreciate that. All right, let's bring up a friendly real quick. Hi, Reckless. How's it going?
Just want to I'm doing all right. We're headed home. We went out and did some family time and did some shopping, and
good deal.
Now we're headed home.
All right.
So
very good.
I wanted to catch the rest of your live. I know I was in the beginning, and then kind of like, I'll catch in the end here because I know it's getting close to hanging it up.
Yeah.
For you anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I did have a guest that jumped in, and so I think I'm going to take one more and then call it a day.
All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your life.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate you.
Yes.
All right.
You're the best.
Support. Thanks,
All
Reckless.
right. Bye, Dad.
All right. So we got two that jumped in. But I think I got time for one more, so I'm just going to accept one more here. All right, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Are you at least 18 for TikTok purposes? Yes. All right, fantastic. And just also make sure you can't drive in live. So I heard doors and stuff, so I just want to make sure. And which God do you believe in?
Jesus.
Okay. And what's your best evidence that God is real?
I saw him.
You saw him? Okay.
That is my evidence.
All right, you saw Jesus, so then that means that every religion is true.
No.
Yeah, because every religion, like we have Hindus that have seen Vishnu, Krishna. I talked to a girl who believed in the Greek gods, and she said she saw Apollo, so that means Apollo's real, right?
They could be real.
They could be real.
But
But yours could be real and could not be real, right?
Okay, well,
so every religion is true because we have
no.
a person in every religion claims that they've seen their deity.
Okay, but like the difference with the Bible though is that it claims that Christ is still alive.
Claims that Christ is still alive. Well, the Hindu holy books claim that all the gods exist, that they're all alive. So.
Does the Muslim book agree though that Christ is alive? Sorry. I should.
No, it doesn't actually. It doesn't actually. It doesn't agree that
when
Christ is alive.
died, he resurrected. Do those books agree with that?
Not the Hindu books, no.
Or
so
the
that
Muslims.
Means, or the Muslims. So that means Hinduism. Yeah. So Hinduism is true then.
So then there's a fundamental difference.
Yeah. So
in what they believe.
Okay. So then what makes their belief not true and yours true?
Because one's claiming that he died and he rose.
Okay.
And the others are claiming that he died and that's it.
Okay. And so, but how do you know that's true?
Well, one, I saw him, so I know it's true.
Okay. So again, Hinduism is true. See, Hinduism doesn't make any mention of Jesus. He's not in the Bhagavad Gita or the Vedas. So no mention of that because the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas were written at least 1,000 years before the Bible. So it's not going to be mentioned in there at all. So, but it does say that all those gods, Krishna, Vishnu, Ganesh, Shiva, all those gods exist and they're all real. And some of them have walked the earth and that people have claimed to have seen them. People have talked to them, felt them. So Hinduism is true. Think I broke him. Your teacup and come back to us. I can't hear you when you're away from the app. All right. So, all right. Well, I don't know what happened, but we're going to move on. Okay. So it looks like he lost his connection, probably ran. All right. Okay. Well, that was really short. So we'll do one more. All right. Last one. Hi.
Hi.
Are you driving?
Hey.
Are you driving?
It's just really windy.
Okay. Yeah, he's driving. All right. So I think that's it. I think we're gonna call it a day. Okay. Oh, geez. Tony Milo jumped in. All right, let's try one more time. I know these Christians that are liars, man. Like, do you not read your own Bible? How's it going? Tony Milo, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. For TikTok purposes, are you at least 18?
Yes.
Okay. And which God do you believe in?
I don't believe in God.
Oh, you don't believe in God? Oh, okay. Well, I want to talk to people who believe in God. But hey, appreciate you coming up.
Thank you.
All right. So, all right. I guess I think that's time to call it right there. So, let's bring up our mods, chat. Not in the possessive, of course, but in the community sense. And Sonny, could you please request? There we go. Fantastic. So in the community sense, these are our mods, not in the possessive sense. Of course, we don't possess anybody. You guys have heard me many, many times rail against buying and selling of people. So we do not own these people, but they are ours in the sense of community. So you guys would agree with that, right? You are our mods.
Definitely.
As a sense, like I am your host in the sense of community, not in the
Yep,
possessive.
of course.
Yeah. So you are our
Yes.
mods. Yeah. So there we go. 7 Lemons, how are you? Oh, he might be on mute, but that's okay.
Thanks. How are you doing?
There you are. Hi. Good to see you, friend. And yes, so these are our mods. And on the YTube side, our mods are, they might have left, but that's okay. So these are our mods. So please give them lots of attention, some love, some W's. And if you have any roses or heart puffs lying around, please send some because they do deserve them. They do the hard work. They really, really do. So I really, really appreciate you guys. You guys are fantastic. Did you guys all have a good weekend?
We did.
I
watched the Super Bowl and my team won.
Yeah, congrats to you. Congrats to you. Yeah, I had a good feeling they were going to win because they just looked too good. Yeah, so and you know what? I'm kind of tired of the Patriots winning, so Seahawks needed another one. So that's good. Good for them.
It was a redemption winning.
Yeah.
From when we lost the last time. And what
Yeah.
was it, 2015 when we lost against them.
That's right. Yeah. So that was a good return to a good revenge game, and you stomped them too. And here's a friendly, here's a community friendly. Eric, the anesthesia dude. Oh, Eric, I don't know if you were here earlier. It was my first guest talking about consciousness. And no, he was trying to get me to say that, because he was trying to get me to say that we can't prove that consciousness comes from the mind, therefore God exists. That's essentially what he was saying. Yeah. So I don't know if you were there for that, but I was okay. But I was thinking about you because we were talking about all that, but it was just a big circle jerk thought exercise. So these are friendlies, and I invited some other friendlies up. But any friendlies you want to come up? Yeah, come on up. I think I got a couple more spots here, but so I'm just very grateful for the support that I get. So thank you all for coming in, hanging out, and all that good stuff. Let's see. Oh, darn it. Okay, I want to bring Bryden up, but I don't have any more spots. So sorry. And Livia's another friend.
Okay. I mean, he's basically here anyway.
Okay.
Because he's just in the next room.
Oh, he's in the next room. Okay. Very good. Okay. Very good. Well, Bryden, I see you. I just want you to know that I do see you. And if I had another spot, you would definitely have it. So thank you for trying to come up. And Livia is another friend. So, all these folks, tap follow on all of these folks. These are good people that are up here. So we definitely want to support people in our community, and we're grateful for all of them being here. So yeah, it was a great show today. Man, there were some pretty wild crash outs today. So that was interesting. And I guess the last thing we need to do is let's find us another live to raid. So anybody have any suggestions? Let's see who I can find. Well, we have Joel Reads Bible. We have some heavy hitters on. We have Deconstruction Zone, Joel Reads Bible.
Joel is only doing the members only right now.
Oh, members only? Okay, so we can cross Joel off the list. So we have Deconstruction Zone. That's an option. Chris the Humanist is up. And I don't know if anyone knows who Chris the Humanist is. He's actually one of the other mods. So you guys should know who he doesn't come in too often. Or we can do Deconstruction Zone. I think that's the people I see that are on. So what do you guys think? I think we'll go Deconstruction Zone. How's that sound? And we'll do a unified one, because YouTube can raid the Deconstruction Zone YouTube live, and TikTok we can raid the Deconstruction Zone TikTok live. So I'm off to raid my bed, and you know what? Let's raid that bed, 7 Lemons. Absolutely, you go. So I think that's a great idea. So yeah, let's do that. So let's just hit Deconstruction Zone. We'll do a TBV raid in the chat, and we'll call it good. But I appreciate y'all. This was a fun live again. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Monday. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. So.
And you do the same.
All right. Thanks. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Trust. Love you all. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Trust. Have a good night.
All right. Have a good night.